Good evening, race fans, and welcome to Octane Online Racing. We're back with the Simrigs Sprint Series after a couple of weeks of break to hold our first of 3 parts of the Italian Job Series, but now we focus on round 5 of the Simrigs Sprint Series, season 17. We're at the Red Bull Ring, the Österreich Ring. What a fantastic circuit. 4.3 kilometers, 10 turns of stunning racing circuit here in Styria, Austria. A favorite, quite a new track to ACC as well. We get to see the Ford for one of the first times here at Octane Online Racing, racing around this stunning circuit. We've got a special format today as well because it is a sprint race, 2 qualifyings and 2 races, both 30 minutes. And the qualifyings will be 10 minutes apiece. It's night time, it's been raining. It's going to be very challenging out there, and we in the commentary box are very much looking forward to this. Before we get into who's in the commentary box tonight, please note that our stream is on a slightly different channel today, so make sure you send that link around to anyone who might be hanging around in the other lobby. Nonetheless, my name's George Cook. I'm going to be joined in the commentary box by the legendary Breno Ellis and the legendary Brent Sykes. Gentlemen, welcome in. Round 5, we're back with the Simrigs Sprint Series, and how are you both doing this evening?
Thanks, George. Doing very well. Had a little bit of a break from the Monza Italian job round, and great to be back here at Red Bull Ring in the dark. Great to see.
Yeah, not doing too badly myself. Red Bull Ring, pretty fun track, pretty quick track. Lots of long straights. And night time plus a bit of rain is going to make it very spicy tonight.
Oh, and speaking of spicy, Fleming going for a bit of a spicy drift, or a couple of spicy drifts around the S's. Very excited for this. This is going to be great. 30-minute races as well, so it's a nice, short, sharp way to get back into the season. 10 minutes of qualifying. We're already halfway through it again, and 13 degrees track Celsius. It's cold. It's wet. It's pretty nasty out there, and it's at night time. And guess what? The first race, also at nighttime, 30 minutes, will be in the dark because the server time is going to be 5 a.m. We're going to go on board for a lap with Fleming. But what are we thinking tonight, gentlemen? What's going to be the trickiest thing? Because it's all going to be tricky. What's the trickiest thing to handle in conditions like this?
Track limits. turn 1 and turn 10, I think, are going to be pretty tricky to go there, especially in the wet. As we see Jacob here, can't use any of the entry curbs either, which is a big thing here at Red Bull Ring to maximize the track width. You push yourself very wide, so I wouldn't be surprised if we see some drivers just kind of a little lapse in concentration, just touch that, and slippery curbs and getting on the power, not a great combo.
Yeah, it's not going to be super amount of fun, is it? But it's going to be fun for us to watch. And so welcome into everyone in YouTube chat as well, and Twitch. Right, so let's go through our order as it stands right now. Mitch Hobbs currently on pole position, a 132.505. Very nice lap in these conditions. Matthew Spinaze in P2 currently, 132.7. So we've got 2.5 tenths between P1 and P2 right now. Plenty of people on a good lap. One of those people is Jacob Maggs, up by 0.4 of a second. This will be very, very close to getting himself onto pole position. Kafil Slay currently in P4, also up on his time. So everyone finding a bit of extra delta out there at the moment, which is excellent to see. We're going to have a nice fight on for P1 as Jacob Maggs goes into P1, takes it away from Mitch Hobbs, 132.4. Very impressive lap. Wow, this is so on the edge for Kafil Slade as well. As we see him head through towards the turn 9 of Rindt. Very nice work there. P5, Dylan McDowell and Harsh Kumar, Brock Godfrey up into P7, Jacob Fleming P8, Robert Maddox P9, and Richard Wells P10 at the moment. Oh, and we've might have lost some audio there. I'm just going to double check with Glenn, make sure that everything's going correctly in the background. Breno, we still have you there?
Yep, still got me.
There was a little bit of a hiccup there for me, but I think we're back.
Excellent. Okay, fantastic. Nonetheless, we will continue 2.5 minutes qualifying remaining in this first session. Of course, as I said before, 2 qualifying sessions and 2 race sessions. Let's go on board with Godfrey, who's going up on his lap, 0.3 of a second. That is a tricky corner, downhill braking zone in the wet. I like it in the dry. In the wet, no thanks.
Yeah. I had a run at it last night in the wet, and the downhill nature of the the corner and trying to trail back into it quite often ends in you with you going into the sand trap on the outside of the turn. So yeah, very difficult. And with the addition of not me being able to see maybe your braking and turn in markers with the limited light we have available, I think it's going to be quite interesting come race time on lap 1.
Yep, exactly right. I think we might be having a couple of issues on Breno's side. We'll keep an eye on that, and Breno just jump in when he can, of course. Also, big thanks to Glenn in the background. He has been exercising demons from his PC, causing a few problems, a couple of glitches here with the stream. That's why we're on the alternative stream today. So that's just an FYI for everyone. If you're still on the other broadcast, make sure you jump on over. We're coming up to the last lap for most in qualifying now. Just give you a quick rundown of where things are at with regards to the standings here in Split Yellow. And of course, I didn't mention that. It is, of course, Split Yellow and Split Green tonight, starting off with Split Yellow. Tomorrow night, we'll have Blue and Red as per usual. Mitch Hobbs currently leading the championship for Split Yellow, 478 points, followed by Jacob Maggs, P1 and P2 in Pro Class. Then Spinaze in P3 on 396 points ahead of Robert Maddox, who's the 3rd place in Pro category. Leading Pro-Am is Harsh Kumar. And then we have Paul Cranach, who's been ever present here in the AM class for Split Yellow. So we hope to see a nice battle going on between Hobbs, Maggs, and Maddox today.
Yeah, the classes are definitely hotting up as the season continues on. I think once we get to the pointy end, there'll be multiple people in contention for each of the 3 classes that we have here with Split Yellow.
Exactly
I
right.
mean, even in this round here, like just looking at qualifying, I think we've got about 15, 16 drivers in a second. And we'll get a couple of drivers being able to do a last lap. I don't think Hobbs is going to be one of those. I think he's going to cross the line, just after the timer ticks down. So we might see a bit of a shake-up of the order here because that track is improving as the rain diminishes just a little. So we'll see how this pans out. So Minardi currently on pole position, only less than a tenth in front of Hobbs. Mags here, only just over a tenth up, needs 2 tenths to pip Spinazi here off pole. So we'll see what he can do. Wow, there's a lot of time there. Is he going to hold it all? Does he go deep? No, he loses it all on exit. Currently just evening his best here. Still a sector to go, though.
Well, that's the problem when you do break late into the corner. You try and get yourself a better time, but then you lose it usually on exit. Harder to get the power down, of course. Gutting there for Mitch Hobbs, 0.083 of a second off of the top time. And that's Spinazi. What a lap that is at the top. He is a silver driver, so we're probably going to have the Spinazi for Pro flags out at some point with a 132.112. Last across the line is going to be their advantage. Mags is finding time into Rint. Does lose on exit. What can he do in the Red Bull Mobile Curve? Good entry. Gets on the power, but it's not going to be enough. I don't even think for P2. He will improve his time, but he will not go up into P2. So Jacob Maggs, P3 on the grid, and there's only 0.03 of a second in it. Kafil Slade here, he's not found any time out on track, and he's invalidated as well. So no improvement there for Kafil Slade. He'll come across the line to finish out our qualifying today. I've had a question in chat as well about what time the race is, and it's supposed to be at 5 a.m. I'm just going to double check this though, because that's pretty rough. Yeah, it's supposed to be at 5 a.m. So it's just coming up to sunset for this part of qualifying. Qualifying was set at 4 a.m. on day 3. Now it's day 3 and 5 a.m. out there. So they will get just that little bit of sunlight out there.
Yeah, the sunlight might be a little bit obfuscated by some weather. Looking at the widget there, sometime within the next 30 minutes, they're going to see some rain. So likely before the end of the session. But the sun will be coming up over that big mountain you can see on the left-hand side of the screen. But we may not see the beautiful colours because of the weather.
let's be honest, if it does come up, they probably don't want it to, because that basically makes you blind in most of, or the end of Sector 1 and most of Sector 2 and some of the start of Sector 3, especially if it remains greasy out there. In 30 minutes, we do have rain coming in. Now, I don't think that's going to affect this race, so I get the feeling, since we're starting on the greasy track, that conditions will evolve and we'll likely get to a fast track during the session. 30 minutes with, how many cars do we have going on the grid? Let me check. We've got 31 cars on the grid, and it looks to be fairly sunny up until then. Just a bit cold, so it might take a while for us to get to the fast track, but I don't think we're going to have any more rain in this session.
Oh, I wouldn't count it out, George. I mean, we've got 10 k's an hour of wind, and we all know what lots of wind does for the weather in ACC. And also, that widget has changed to heavy rain in 30. So I reckon we'll get a sprinkling for the last lap or two. Track has just moved to green there, so it is starting to dry out.
I'm just trying to give some commentary blessings. That's all. But I think you made a good point there, because now green track, we could be 25 or even 20 minutes away from getting that rain coming in. We do, of course, know the 10-minute to 30-minute timer can be a little bit here and there. So we shall see. And, the valley that Red Bull Ring does sit in, yep, there's a fair amount of changeable weather that does come through. So this will be a fascinating start to the race. We do have Spinazzi on pole. That was a fantastic lap in those changing conditions. And even though he didn't get the last word in terms of the last lap done out on track, he certainly had the pace for it in his BMW today.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see what he can do. Obviously, has the pace today. We'll see if he can hold off the ever-charging Hobbs and Mags behind, or if they fight between themselves and Spinazzi just gets to walk away. Wouldn't count Kafil Slade out here for a podium, starting P4 for a prime driver. Very, very good. Very good time there. And yeah, Harsh Kumar, obviously, as you said, leading the Pro-Am Championship, so he's obviously not he's going to want to make up some positions. You've got two Pro-Am drivers directly ahead, as we see them taking off here for the formation lap.
And as we do go on to our formation lap, let's do a couple of housekeeping items. Welcome into those watching on Twitch and on YouTube. Hopefully you've all found the alternative YouTube link for this one. I'll make sure we post that again into the original broadcast chat, because we do have a broadcast going on, of course. Just a small issue with our stream side of things. And of course, we do also have Mull. He's over in hospital at the moment, so I think we all will send a resounding get well soon to him. Apparently picked up one of those bugs that's been traveling around of late. Another couple of housekeeping items. Of course, it is the Simrigs Sprint Series. So go check out simrigs.com, sponsoring our Sprint Series. And if you're an Octane Online Racing Patreon, you do get that lovely 5% off on the simrigs.com website. Get all your sim racing gear over there. And if you do want to support us as well, if you enjoy the racing today, want to get involved, head over to octaneonlineracing.com.au. Get involved, get signed up, get in the Discord. There's a whole bunch of awesome racing coming up. And finally, we do have the Race for Mull coming up this weekend on the 15th of June. It will be live streamed on the channel. We'll have a few of us in the commentary box, as well as hopefully upwards of 100 people, all in Porsches, at the Nordschleife for 90 minutes. And this is in support of Sean Muller, who is in chat as well. And of course, we do continue to wish him a speedy recovery from what was a very scary situation a while ago. Gentlemen, Breno and Brent, some predictions today. Continuing, let's get some predictions from everyone in chat as well. But will Spinazzi be able to hold off the charging bulls behind him?
Oh, it's tough. I know that the Ferrari very, very strong. As we can see, actually, P2 down to P5, all Ferraris. So Ferrari's very strong at this track. But I mean, there's a lot of tight corners onto long straights. So we'll see what he can do here. I hope he can. But we'll see. We'll see how it plays out as we round the second to last corner.
Brilliant. And Brent, a prediction from you before we get started?
Ooh, it's going to be hard. Those Ferraris are very good in the rain. But Spinazzi broke up the Ferrari party we had at Laguna, so maybe he'll stick it out in front for the rest of the race.
Brilliant. Breno, you want to take us away?
All right, so we're coming down the main straight here. We're about to hit the line. I reckon race start has initialized. And we've gone green and we're away. Spinazzi looks to see get a good run off the line, not good exit, sorry, good run off the line here. Mitch Hobbs is going to go down the inside into turn 1. We'll see if they go wide. Got to be really careful on those track limits out there as we see a massive, that is a huge crash out the back there. I think I saw more cars off the track than on it. I reckon that might be a VSC.
Yeah, safety car.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Wow.
Yeah.
Spinazzi stays ahead all through that.
I am seeing over 10 cars involved in that. That is a huge incident at the start of this race. So many cars involved from the likes of Grant Lew, Hayden Marsh, Andy Bishop, Nicholas Brownette, Starkey, Taplin, Cranach, Bubnow, McDowell, Lim, Wells, Mullally. All of them involved in that, the early part of this. And turn 1, I mean, you called it out earlier, guys. Turn 1 was going to be a tricky one. It always is. Someone always gets on the power a little bit too early. It's a green track. It's not ready to get the power down early. And someone has done something, unfortunately, very wrong through that part, or hasn't had an accident of some kind, and 10 cars or thereabouts have been involved in that. For sure, we'll get a replay of that at some point, but safety car, safety car, safety car. No surprise there.
Yeah, turn 1 here at Red Bull Ring is difficult in the dry. You've got a nice big sausage curb on the inside, a nice big sausage curb on the outside. That with the not so great grip on the track and the low temperatures is just sort of a recipe waiting to happen.
At the very least, we are now at fast track conditions, and here's a replay of the start. 765 looks that is a Porsche, a Red Bull livery Porsche. Does seem to have gone round a bit earlier. There might even be more contact in there. But there is so much to digest in that. I do not envy the stewards. We're going to try and take another little look at that. Big thanks to our broadcaster, Glenn, tonight. Juggling about 1,000 juggling balls up in the air simultaneously. Absolutely incredible stuff. Let's go on board. We're seeing the view of Hayden Marsh at the moment. It's centered a bit too much there. They're all 4 wide. We've got about 3 rows of cars 4 wide in this. It's happened well before Hayden Marsh gets through and Glenn Taplin gets through. And crikey. Yeah. Well, if you want to be a steward, then please go and contact our lovely admins, and you can get involved in dissecting events like this.
Or just a bit of a check up there for the Ferrari. I think that's basically what's caused it there. Just a bit of just no time to react, and a bit of the concertina effect. A couple cars piling up there, and it just just snowballs very, very quickly.
Yeah, exactly right. And it looks like we have gone racing once again. So Spinazzi leads his way. Hobbs and Slade is up there now in P3 too. So we'll jump back to the main broadcast now. We are apparently having some issues with the sound, so I'll just let Glenn know, of course, that we're having a couple of issues with the sound as well on stream. Cool. So let's continue. Hobbs holds the fastest lap. Whatever that means at this stage of the race doesn't mean much. It's going to be more in the next few minutes. With 26 minutes remaining. The rain is still 30 minutes out. We are racing again here. This is the first of 2 races tonight. So don't worry, everyone will have another shot at getting away across the line and setting their qualifying times as well. Kafil Slade in chase of Mitch Hobbs right now. Spinazzi still leading us away. 0.5 the gap at the moment. No one is 4 wide through the last little bits, the quarters of the circuit, I should say. And that is a track limit penalty for Kafil Slade.
Yes. I just noticed J Mags has dropped a little bit back. He's behind Harsh Kumar there in the Indian flag Ferrari. So I wonder what's happened there. If there's been a bit of argy-bargy, or he's just made a mistake on his own. Obviously not, potentially not up to scratch with the other track conditions, because they are a little bit different from what most people practice during the week. So we'll see. But Kafil Slade all over the back of Hobbs here, and Hobbs is not letting Spinazzi get away here. So we'll see what happens. Kafil looks for it, feels the mirrors there. Just backs out though. Might bring him into the grips of the Lexus behind. The thing, an absolute beast on the straights, and there's a few ones there. At Red Bull Ring. The straights are a lot longer than they seem when you look at the track from above. But when you're actually driving, you realize just how important an exit is, especially from turn 1 and turn 2.
Exactly. It's sort of got a Monza-esque feel to it, doesn't it? Because we've only got 11 turns at a track like this. So, when you do get onto those straights, you need to be absolutely maximizing your top speed as much as you possibly can. So, yes, the Lexus is going to be a bit of a trouble contender for a lot of these other cars out there. The Ferraris will have to be running a fairly low wing in this situation, but we'll see what they can do. Phil Slade in that turn 1 kind of psyched out both drivers at the top. He's dropped quite a bit of time, though, to them. So maybe just dealing with a little bit of a tyre pressure issue at this stage, trying to get things into the zone. He was looking really good at the first part of the previous lap. And, okay, we do have game sound, but apparently too loud, but I'm sure Glenn is on it. So don't worry, everyone in chat. I'm sure he's going to be sorting that out in just a second. It's just a little bit of a wake-up call, that's all. Yeah, you wanted sound, you got more than you bargained for. That's what
here we go.
Question, folks. Yep, here we go.
Phil Slade gets the exit out of turn 1. He's going to have the inside into turn 2 here. He's going to get the move done before the braking zone, as long as he pulls it up fine. A little bit of an elbow out there. Coming through turn 2, but very nice move up into P2 in the chase of Spinazzi, who pulled a little bit of a gap from these guys behind, but still within striking distance.
So that must be Mitch Hobbs must have not got a good run out of turn 1, because Kafil Slade really was ahead of him. Oh, little touch there from Mitch Hobbs, and Kafil Slade is sent packing into the gravel on the exit of Schloss Gold there. It's really unlucky. That is really unlucky. It was such a light tap.
Yeah, I think that might be my first commentator curse, so I've joined the club.
Don't worry, it's a prestigious club. It's one that you'll find yourself entering many times over and over. Really unlucky for Kafil Slade. He had the pace there, but just maybe, he was really hard on the brakes into the corner. Obviously just didn't quite see it happening, and unfortunately went straight into the back of him. So I guess the stewards will be taking a little look at that one. So Hobbs has also lost a position now to Smith. The Smith is up to P2. Lexus is leading us away from the Ferrari party in Hobbs, Kumar and Mags. And the BMW, Spinazzi, really being given a little bit of a leash here. He's been let off to run around the park, and he is doing so very, very nicely. Matthew Spinazzi, Silver Class Championship leader in Season 17 for Split Yellow. Now he's leading the race here at Red Bull Ring.
I mean, 2 results like this, he might even be here leading overall after round 5 here. Yeah, well, we'll see how this develops. I mean, 2-second gap, still definitely some nice breathing room. He doesn't have to worry too much. Just has to put in nice consistent laps. We do also have a mandatory pit stop. I assume most drivers will be taken at about halfway. As the minimum time is 25 seconds, so it makes sense to spend the extra 5 seconds, didn't take the extra tyres, with a little bit of extra pace for that second stint.
Brent, what's your take on all the situation so far in the first few laps?
Been very entertaining so far, but yeah, thinking about the pit stop strategy, it's going to be interesting with that rain. If the rain's going to be right near the end, you might be able to stay out on dries, but if it's 10 minutes towards the end of the race, then holding out your pit stop and potentially going straight to wets may be the play. It'll just depend on how much fuel. I mean, I assume they've probably loaded up for 30 minutes worth of fuel. But yeah, that could throw some spanners if guys have taken their mandatory stops already for damage and then having to go on to wets later in the race. And yeah, it could shake up things at the front too.
I think it is one of those tracks where you do want to minimize your pit time as much as possible. Not that you don't at other tracks as well, but some other tracks you can kind of get away with doing that extra bit of refueling if you think it's going to give you a bit more stability out on track, a bit more consistency, and a longer race format, of course, as well. You do tend to try and avoid fuel up as well. Sometimes you do it. Why not? You're still changing tyres anyway, but the mandatory tyre change is going to be key. Buskovitz does lose a position there. The number 29 Nissan loses the position to the AMG of Sweeney, the number 90 Pro driver, going on through, trying to keep hold of Mags and the Ferrari party ahead. And that was a very clean move through turn 1. 29 does have a little bit of a look into Schloss Gold, doesn't think of any further of it once he does back out, because that is a braking zone that can go all wrong. Oh, has a little look up the inside into Worth Curve. Nice tactics going on right now. Really hard to overtake in this section of the track, though.
Yeah, 100%. It's almost, it's almost better to just follow and just hang back a little bit and get the better run. As we see, Buskovitz here has actually done just that. He pulls it up. He gets the move done into turn 9. AMG a little bit wily on the curb, the exit curb there, but no, he's got back past again. As I was saying, just look for the exit. and then just wait for a straight and focus on your exit instead of trying to send something up the inside into a braking zone.
And we have a weather update, everyone. It is now 10 minutes until the rain hits. So for those of you who were thinking, let's run on the slicks, let's run as long as we possibly can, put 30 minutes of fuel in the car, and then just wait till the rain arrives. Well, if you're thinking that, you've got it absolutely right, because the rain is on its way.
Yeah, we'll see if the guys jump in straight away, or they wait for the track to deteriorate just a little bit, because I mean, the rain's going to be sticking around till the end of the race once it comes. So I reckon they'll be jumping on wets. I hope all the drivers out there have filled up for the full 30 minutes or at least 20, because the ones that have gone half and half might find themselves in a bit of a sticky situation, having to do a couple laps on a dry track on wets, or trying to brave it out on dries with a second set of dries for the remaining 10-15 minutes. So it's going to be quite interesting to see how this pans out.
So I am just looking through the field right now, and it looks like everyone did in fact start on the dry tires. So I believe almost everyone out there started on their dry tires. No one seems to have been sitting on the wet tires. Maybe those who did do an early pit stop have already changed onto a dry tire set. That's going to come back to bite them if they did decide to do that. But from what I can tell, everyone is on the dry tires, and maybe my telemetry is telling me fibs, but that's what I can see on this side.
Yeah, I can't imagine anybody would go wets. It's very, very tough to make them last and make them better as well once the rain does come. And from the widget that we did have at the start, I wasn't expecting the rain to actually come this quickly. I know the wind. I did say the wind was going to potentially bring it, but even then, I was expecting it to be maybe the last 5 minutes at a push. But it looks like we're getting at least the last 10 minutes in wetting conditions.
So Kafil Slade has taken the fastest lap of this race so far with a 1:28.4. We're already 4 seconds faster per lap than we were in qualifying. Of course, qualifying was done under rainy conditions, and this is what the drivers have been hoping for, a bit of dry condition running. And we do have right here Smith under a huge amount of pressure from Mitch Hobbs, the number 4. Maybe going to send it up the inside of Rind. Let's have a little look. Does have a peak, but it's just a small peek through the door. And now it's a big send. Oh, the Lexus nearly let him on through, but Hobbs sensibly backed out of that one. Didn't want any piece of that, because you know what happens in Red Bull Mobile Curve. That door gets solidly shut in your face. Maybe down into turn 1 will be the opportunity. Late braking Ferrari, can he do it? Yeah, he's always going to have another look at it, forcing the Lexus offline. Lexus runs wide and deep over the sausage curb, maybe slightly disadvantaging himself on the curb there. Hobbs going to have another try, but it's looking a little further back than he needs to be for a set now.
Yeah, Smith there making that Lexus as wide as he possibly can. And with the acceleration and the top speed that it has, it's going to be quite difficult for the Ferrari to get past the thing. He may just have to sort of keep in his mirrors and maybe hope for a mistake, or a bump on one of those sausage curbs, or running wide in one of the corners, and then make his move there.
Yeah, he almost did it into turn 9 there. The Lexus did go wide. Hobbs is just a bit too far back to really make anything of it. But he definitely knows that that Smith is driving in the mirrors at this point in time. So I reckon he'll look for a mistake. Oh, just a bit of counter steer there. Car's not looking awfully hooked up at this point, but he's right back onto the back of the Lexus through sector 2, which you'd expect with the Lexus being a bit of a fridge on wheels.
Yeah, that thing does not like to turn corners. It's not designed for it. It wasn't in the intention of the designers, apparently. Oh, big moment for Hobbsy. Huge counter steer through Red Bull Mobile Curve, but does manage to hold on to it. That'll let Smith get away for the time being. We're coming up to halfway distance through race 1. The rain is coming into the circuit in the next 10 minutes or so, and this puts Hobbs right back into the grasps, or it did for just a moment and a moment before on the previous lap, to the grasps of Harsh Kumar, who's running a race trying to get away from Jacob Maggs, who is closing in on the number 4 position, and will be trying to get up into this battle as well. All of this, though, is only helping Spinazi's cause. He is 4.5 seconds up the road. Looking back a little bit, Fleming in the Pennzoil Ford. I absolutely love to see it. Now taking the defensive line against a McLaren. 2 McLarens, in fact, I believe. No, that's a Ferrari and a McLaren. Okay, I always get mixed up between the McLaren and the Ferrari. Don't ask me why. That just happens. That was a nice move there as well. Fleming, what a position gain. Spencer's going to have the outside line. Gets squeezed by the number 20 Ford. And into the braking zone we go.
We'll see. No, he's on the outside still. I was thinking there might be a little chance for an old switcheroo there and go up the inside of the Mustang, as he did take a very conservative line. Hug that inside very tight. Oh, the McLaren just gets hooked up on the curb there. You can see the black lines of the wheels scrubbed. And he's right back into the clutches of, is that Jones and the Ferrari behind. This is shaping up to be a really good battle. So we go back to the lead here. And Hobbs has got past Smith.
There we go. So
and there's a Gackle behind as well.
Must have been an issue then for Hobbs. Oh, I've just seen a yellow flag with Harsh Kumar. Yeah, Harsh Kumar has had a issue, folks. He is now down on P8. I think he might have just run a bit wide in that gaggle of cars, as you were just saying. So it's going to be Hobbs from Smith from Mags. Mags essentially jumps up, well, 1 position as effective from that because of Kumar's unfortunate and untimely exit from this battle.
You can see Kafil Slade, he's back in the mix. He's made it back from P9 after that little touch into this very corner, going up the inside. A little bit of contact. He spun him around. That's unfortunate.
Oh dear. So Mags had the outside line there. Kafil was just a bit too deep into the corner. Couldn't get it stopped. Couldn't get the cornering grip that he needed in there. And he does tag the edge of Jacob Mags, who falls to P9. That elevates Zeri and Harsh Kumar back up into P8 and P7 respectively. We've also got Brock Godfrey in the mix as well in the 211 Honda. Nice to see a Honda up there in the top 10 at the moment. Yeah,
100%. Bit of an ugly duckling, the old Honda. There was a point in time where it was insanely good, and then Kunos decided to try and balance it, and they didn't do a very good job. They nerfed it a lot, and they've brought it back a little bit. Obviously, LFM BOP is definitely helping it out, but I don't mind the old Honda. Done a little bit. Done some quick races with pit skill at Monza. So probably not the most representative track, but feels quite good there. So who knows? Maybe next season.
Maybe it's always next season for the poor Honda. We do feel for it a little bit. For those brave souls who do decide to jump in the cockpit of the Honda, well done to you. And to see it up running in P6 at the moment is very, very impressive. He's got Sweeney in the AMG ahead, so probably 2 cars that are maybe not so suited to a track like this. What is that livery on the Honda? We'll have to take a closer look at that at some point, because that is something very special. But Sweeney in the AMG ahead currently, now under pressure. Got Kumar behind, and yeah, what on earth is going on that NSX memes? That's what's happening.
Yes, I do believe so. I did notice that, and I sort of just put it aside. But yeah, I think we do need to come back to that, because there's a lot going on there.
Certainly is. We've got the rain coming in relatively soon. Oh, is that nearly a move of Kafil Slade? He's right on the back of Smith and the 347 Lexus, fighting for P3 at the moment. Kafil Slade, after that incident with Hobbs, he has been on an absolute charge, and maybe a bit too much of a charge. Does seem like everyone is now coming into the pits. We've had a number sitting in there. Crick is in, Lou is in, and we've had a few others as well, including Buskovitz. We've got now Kafil Slade and Smith going in as well. And what is going on here? The Ford holding the outside line, running wide, track limits. Take that speed token. The McLaren's got the inside line. Oh, hits the curb. He took 2 of a shallow angle, and that has sent the number 20 very wide on the exit of the last corner.
Yeah, there's just a little bit of the word's not coming to me right now, but that was a little messy from the drivers there. Unfortunately, the Mustang has come out worse. He's drawn the short straw out of all that, as the other 3 continue to battle. Just expense from the McLaren actually looking for a move here.
Well,
down the inside.
It is, but it's trouble zone right now. They are all, as I understand it, all on dry tires, and it is now raining. Brent, give us a breakdown. What do? You're on dry tires, and you've got over 3/4 of a lap to do. That's not a pleasant place to be.
Yeah, I think the plan is just hold on. I think the track will take a little bit to get terrible, but yeah, stay off the curbs, be careful with your inputs and that sort of thing, and make it round to the pits. At the start of this lap, I did notice a couple of cars heading into the pits before the rain started. I'm not sure if they were just using their premonition or maybe the fuel worked out for them perfectly, but yeah, jumping on the wets, I imagine, just in time for the rain.
Well, I can tell you that Kafil Slade was one of those who came into the pits just before the rain hit, and he did indeed switch to the wet tyres, and Smith, I do believe, was the same. Smith has ended up out of the pits ahead of P20, so there's a couple of positions in between Kafil Slade and Dylan Smith now. Smith also coming out on the wet tyres, so it looks like those who have pulled the trigger early were probably the best for it, but as you said, it will take a little bit for the conditions to go to a point where the slicks are totally useless, only getting to greasy at the moment. Technically only light rain out there right now.
Yeah, the greasy is definitely the changeover, whether it's at the start or the end. But I'm not sure if you just saw there was a little bit of contact coming into the pits between two yellow cars, a Mustang and I think a Ferrari. So you might see a penalty from that. I don't think it was bad enough to push the Ferrari over the over the line and give them the speeding penalty. But I guess we'll just have to wait and see.
I've been told in chat that Spinazzi might have made a bit of a lunge into the pits as well, so he might try and pull that up on a replay at some point for everyone. At the very least, I'll try and take a look at what maybe had happened there. We've got a few people commenting on it, so I do wonder if something maybe a little exciting has happened there. Mitch Hobbs has picked up a 10-second penalty for the contact he had with Kafil Slade. That's a big penalty. There's a few other penalties around as well, mostly I think for the start incident. So those have been served, as most of the grid now does come into pit. Still got a few brave souls out there trying to get through another lap. Hobbs has come in. In fact, there's Harsh Kumar. Godfrey does go for another lap. So Brock Godfrey is braving things at the moment, thinks he's still got enough grip out there to do another lap, and he is going to go again. He's going to be one of three, I believe, who are going again. Maddox and Taplin also staying out. It feels at this point that's getting rather brave.
Yeah, I'm wondering if maybe they were cars caught up in the shenanigans at turn one, and they've already taken their pit stop, and so they're just sort of, going to grit and bear it for 7.5 minutes. And then try and last all the way to the end, which will be interesting because I'm pretty sure we're going to see some medium rain shortly as well, which is going to make the track even more difficult to handle.
As you say that, it's just changed to damp then. I think it's the temperature that's going to kill the dries better, because the peak is banging cap. Up until a greasy track, even that verge of greasy to damp, the slicks are still generally viable, if not better, at that point. So I was surprised that the drivers jumped in so early, but now definitely the wets are going to dominate from this point onwards.
Exactly. I'm keeping an eye on the timing sheets right now. We've got Godfrey and Taplin. Both of them have yet to pits. Both of them still on dries. They're coming towards the pit entry now. In fact, I think Taplin might only just be halfway through the lap. Unfortunately, Brock Godfrey has sent it too hard. And oh my goodness. Okay. So brave Honda driver has sent it too hard into Rindt. He's spun it, and then he's cut across the track and driven directly across the pit line. Yeah, that's not the line. That's not how you go into the pit lane there, unfortunately. But luckily, no one else got caught up in that. But whatever time he's gained by staying out, he's probably lost with that maneuver.
Yeah, I think he did. Ooh, as we're having more contact. That Sosh Gold corner's causing a lot of issues. But yeah, I'd say he did pretty well. I think he got off the dry-ish line, trying to brake to get into the pits, and ran wide and went off the track and let some cars past, and then mad dash into the pits before he'd gone too far.
That is the danger of pushing it just a bit too hard. And oh my goodness, wow. That has gone from one car going round to four. And that is Hayden Marsh, Mitch Hobbs, Jacob Maggs, all involved in that incident. This is the battle for the top P9, P10, P11, P12. Dylan McDowell looks to be involved in that as well. And that has gone from bad to worse to nightmare in a matter of milliseconds. It's all absolutely going to a place that we don't want to see here at Octane Online Racing. But sprint races be sprint races, wet tracks early in the morning with low temps and changing conditions, and all the while we do have our first drive-through. Thought we might see more by this point, but a drive-through penalty for track limits for Mags there. I thought I saw a speeding in the pit lane as well, but we will see. That was chaos.
Yeah, it was crazy. Like I think the Ferrari spun by himself, and then everybody else just started spinning. It's like synchronized swimming, but
Ferrari must have had damage, put some oil down on track, and then everyone went over it.
So threw the banana out the back.
Sorry, folks. Just so you know, you're not watching ACC tonight. You're watching Mario Kart 64, and we do have cheats enabled. So.
Yeah, I think somebody needs to blue shelf Spinazzi. I think they'll bring it back into contention.
Too right. Spinazzi is technically still in the race. I have to make a call out though. Glenn Taplin has yet to pit, and as I understand it, he's still on dry tires, and that is him right ahead of our leader. So he's gone around again. Glenn Taplin has gone again. He is yet to pit, so he has to do his mandatory. He's got 4 minutes left to do it. We are now at full wet conditions, and let's watch this BMW fly past the McLaren or not. If it doesn't happen then, it'll happen right now, because dry tires versus wet, and Spinazzi will inevitably regain the lead of this race. Just needs to do it very carefully around the McLaren running dry tires. I'm a little bit aghast at what I'm seeing right now, I'll be honest. You've got to be on the wet tires in these conditions.
He's done very well to last this long. I'm just wondering if maybe he has missed the memo about having a mandatory pit stop. Hopefully he realises in the next race he's essentially going to have to pit, I guess, a minute and a half, this lap or the next. Otherwise he'll be getting a penalty at the conclusion of the race. But he doesn't look completely out of control. I think he's handling it quite well, given the conditions. Pretty well done, I think.
Completely agree with that. I mean, it's actually really impressive driving to wrangle a McLaren or any car around there on dry tyres in wet conditions, and it is full wet conditions out there. So, yeah, that's actually, look, he's got the yellow lines on his tyres, so maybe he is on the wet, but from what I can tell in my telemetry, he is yet to pit. He is apparently on dry tyres, as everyone else is on wet at the moment around him. So if that is true, if my telemetry is telling me the right thing, then that is a very impressive drive. And yeah, look, he's avoiding the curbs like they are a bunch of trouble. So I think that is the case. And if he doesn't pit now, I'd be very surprised. Yeah, he's on the pit line, does take the pit entry very slowly, very cautiously. Oh, nearly doesn't get it turned in as well. Let's keep an eye on this, because that is a dodgy pit entry for him.
Yeah. Also, throughout all of this, we've actually got a battle for P3. So, will be actually P2. So, Phil Slade and Godfrey. Not much separating them at this point in time. Less than a second last time the board updated. So, we'll see how this one plays out. So, Phil Slade just been involved in a couple of incidents throughout this race. Dropped down to almost P10, P9, if I'm not mistaken. So, to get all the way back up to P2, fighting for P2, sorry, is a great recovery for him. So I'd love to see him on that second step.
Absolutely. I think I did also see just a moment ago an incident for Harsh Kumar. He's dropped to P7 now. Hobbs is in P8 in this race currently, so he's had an incident as well. Not quite sure when that's happened, but Hobbs isn't down in P8. He obviously lost the 10 seconds as well, so that might account for the vast majority of it, but it looks like he's further away from his original position than he was beforehand. So there might have been an additional issue there. Kafil Slade, though, yeah, great recovery drive for this one, all things given, though he did also obviously have that contact a couple of times throughout this race. Now he's got Godfrey ahead of him in P2, and Spinazzi is 13.5 seconds ahead as it stands right now, which is a country mile with regards to the conditions out there at the moment.
Yeah, 100%. Just absolute domination from Spinazzi. Oh, as Hobbs gets, he's still going away with his left, right, through the S's there, and not the combination that you'd expect. Mags here has just received a penalty. Not sure if this is going to be 10. No, it's staying at 5 seconds. So Mags there, and I believe Mitch Hobbs was involved in the synchronized pirouetting earlier.
Yes.
So it's the 2 there. So it looks like he's got a bit of damage. That bonnet's not looking completely closed. So that
you're absolutely right. He was the last car into that 4-way synchronized spin. And he had nowhere to go. Absolutely nowhere to go. As more penalties get handed out. Fleming now hit with a 10-second penalty out on track. Psychonias as well. He has got a 10-second penalty. The 277 McLaren down in P20, and Nags with that 5 seconds too. We've got 10 seconds left in this first race, and if we thought this was exciting, well, we've got another qualifying and another 30-minute race coming up, so the excitement is certainly not over. But I think we take our focus back to the leader of this race. Matthew Spinazzi has been out of the trouble all race long, got away nicely, kept the lead from the charging Ferraris behind him, and he has secured himself victory at this stage of the race, unless he has a horrible incident of commentators' curses right at the end of this race. If he does manage to navigate the last corner here, I'm going to be quiet as he does so. Yes, he does. Okay, good. Spinazzi takes race 1 victory here for Split Yellow. Does a little bit on the steering wheel at the end there. Godfrey, nearly drops it in the second to last corner, but he'll hold on just to take P2, and then Kafil Slade will take P3 in this race, followed by the Lexus of Dylan Smith. What a race. I mean, that had everything.
Yeah, 100%. Massive crash on the first lap. Mixed weather, awesome racing. Underdog winner. Wow. I'm excited for race 2 now.
I do want to mention that the top 5 does not include a single pro driver in this race. So just putting that out there.
Yeah, I think this might actually be the first time that a silver driver's won in this season, if I'm not mistaken.
I will double check that, but I think you are absolutely right. You are absolutely correct. Spinazzi got close once before, P2 at Donington. He's had P3s consistently throughout the rest of it. That's for Split Yellow. So yeah, Spinazzi will be absolutely stoked with that. And the
Wow, that was
Spinazzi...
close over the line.
Oh yeah, sorry, I'm looking at my timing sheets. There's a battle going on.
Yeah, look at that. 300s, almost 400s. Split the Porsche there and the GTR over the line. Sorry to interrupt there, but that was insanely close.
Not at all. Interruptions are always good. Price comes across the line, followed by Bishop. Then we'll have Paul Cranach, and he has taken out Am victory once again. So we'll digest what was a crazy race 1 as we now head towards the next session, which will be qualifying 2 in preparation for race 2. And I will also double check what kind of server conditions we're expecting for this race. Qualifying 2 will be held at midday. Same day on the server, so we've forwarded by about 6.5 hours, and then the race will be at 3 p.m. this day as well. So it's still raining though, chaps.
Yeah, that's right. The rain's stuck around or come back after the first race, and it'll be here at least for the 10 minutes of qualifying. Whether it sticks around for the actual race or not, we'll have to see. But again, I guess the drivers are used to driving in the wet now, so maybe they'll be a little bit more comfortable. But yeah, spicing things up. 10 minutes isn't a lot of time to get a lap in when you're trying not to invalidate and staying on it with the wet conditions.
Well, this is why we enjoy the commentary box, because it's dry, we've got drinks here, and comfortable leather chairs.
Oh yeah.
Several people. I've got standards, all right, for the commentary box, and we need to make sure we've got the mandatory necessities for what we do here.
Gotta make the work environment good, you know.
Exactly, that's right. No extra bells and whistles for anyone else on the grid. Everyone else sitting in their sim rigs and in their pit lane boxes, or maybe on their couches. Watching on today in preparation for their race, either coming up in split green later on, or in the split blue and red. And we're ticking down now 8 minutes of qualifying remaining. It will be very interesting to see who does come out on top here. I am going to give a prediction here, and I don't tend to do these too often, but I think Spinazzi might be finding himself at the top of qualifying for qualifying 2 as well.
Yeah, I would agree with that too.
Oh,
yeah.
that's
the contact on the outlap as well. It's yeah, definitely not good. But yeah, that BMW did look very stable both in the dry and the wet. It does do quite well here with all the high-speed corners. So yeah, I think Spinazzi is a good person to put some money on if you're a betting kind of man.
The other thing is, oh,
No,
if I
go
could
ahead. Go ahead.
interject here. So it's actually going to dry in 10 minutes time. I'm not sure if that's going to be by the time the end of the session, because the couple minutes, of the little start timer and that, so we could actually see the tracks begin to improve. So it might actually be the last lap is the quickest here. It's going to be close, but it will be interesting to see if that's the case.
Well, certainly we will be seeing the track get faster because it's gone from wet to damp already. The track temperature is quite high, 25 degrees Celsius on the tarmac, 20 degrees in the air. No wind, though, to blow away any of those extra puddles, so it'll still be pretty treacherous out there. But 30 cars going around. Over the course of 5 minutes, that could clear a fair bit of the rain away if the rain does stop. That is conditional on the rain stopping. So we will see, but it's a damp track, so we should see changing conditions getting better and better throughout the next 6.5 minutes of racing. We've been asked in chat, we have leather chairs, question mark, exclamation mark, question mark, exclamation mark. I've just been sitting on a milk crate this whole time. Yes, well, that's why you've got to bring in your own chairs. It's sort of a BYO luxury commentary box. All right, so do we have any other predictions? Let's give it to our chat as well. Let us know on Twitch and on YouTube. Who do you think is going to get pole in this session? Maddox has already taken an early banker, a 32.8. Brent and Breno, what do you guys think outside of Spinazzi? What are we thinking?
Pretty hard to go over the championship contenders, Mags and Hobbs. So you see Harsh Kumar actually takes provisional pole position for now. So the pole time in the last session was a 32.1. So he might just drop into 31s, possibly, as this track does look a little bit better, a little bit quicker than the last qualifying. As Spinazzi there, 32.3, so a couple tenths off what he did in the previous qualifying. We're still with 5.5 minutes to go, so over half.
There on your screens right now is Godfrey. Had a good result in that first race, P2, managed to hold on, keeping Kafil Slade out of the running for a P2 slot. That is a car there, you can't park there, sir. And nonetheless, he is parked there. That is the number 18, number 19, I can't even tell at this point. Too blind, I need glasses. But Godfrey will continue his lap. He's stuck behind a Ford at the moment. I think that might be Fleming. Whether he's stuck or not is we shall see. Of course, if you are new to Octane Online Racing, go and check us out, octaneonlineracing.com.au. Give us a like and a subscribe here. Come on, guys, hit that like button. You know you want to. It's free. And you can always unlike if you really, really hate what we're doing here. So why not give it a like in the first place? There's my little plug.
Again, looking at the timing sheet here, very close quality. We've got at least 10 drivers, more than that, within a second of each other. The top 5 or so within 3 tenths, top 6 and 3 tenths, top 7, sorry, 3 tenths almost. So very, very close quality here at Red Bull Ring in the wet. Rain still coming down. Got on board here with Hobbs. Loses a little bit of time on the exit there of the S's. Still 2 tenths up. It's bouncing on the edge here. A good final 2 corners here, and he might just take provisional pole. Or lose a little bit on exit. We'll see what he can do into turn 10 here. Oh, it's going to be very close. No, he loses a little bit. Just that little wiggle on the curb. Just couldn't get the power down. It's going to be very, very close. Yeah, less than half a tenth separating him. And Kafil Slade, who's come out of nowhere and has just taken provisional pole at this point in time with a 32.245.
Now that I think about it, we probably should have put some chips on Kafil Slade, just based on how fast he was in that previous race. I do believe he held the fastest lap in race 1 in those wet conditions at the end. Whether it must have been done in the dry conditions, in fact. But Kafil Slade, yeah, 132.2, got 1/10 of a second, splitting the top 3 right now. Maddox just outside there, couldn't improve on that lap, unfortunately for him. But he is right there in the mix this time, and he'll be wanting to be up in that top 3 and battling for that position. So it's been an interesting switch up. Kafil Slade, the Pro-Am driver, leading us away in qualifying. We've got our silver championship winner, or not championship, race winner, silver category winner from last race. Qualified on pole position for race 1, now down on P3. And it's all going to come down to the hundredths of a second in this qualifying. 2.5 minutes remaining. Keep an eye and see if that rain condition does improve. But right now, the rain is still coming down just as solidly as it was before. Hobbs up on his time right now. He has got nearly 3/10 on the board. I think, chaps, it's going to come down to who does the last lap out on track.
Yeah, I think Breno called it earlier with the evolution of the track. We've got a dry line, and it seems to be improving. And the guys are pumping in those times with the 2 minutes left in qualifying.
There it is.
Beautiful lap
the
from Hobbs.
first 31 of the qualifying session. Hobbs putting himself in a very strong position there to take out pole position in this qualifying session. But yeah, as you're saying, George and Brent, the track is continuing to improve. Rain still hasn't stopped. I don't think it's going to, but it's going to be who times this last lap and puts it in. I reckon is going to do fairly well.
Couldn't agree more. We did have a look briefly there. McDowell is in P7. So let's run through the grid very quickly as it stands right now. Mitch Hobbs leads us away from Kafil Slade. Benazzi is out on a lap, or he was. He's on an invalid lap now. And it's very, very close between the top three. Certainly P2, P3, very, very close right now. Then it's Robert Maddox in the 765. Then Dylan Smith in P5. That is McDowell. He's unfortunately invalidated his lap, so we'll keep an eye on Dylan Smith now. He's finding some time out on track, just coming into Schloss Gold. Brock Godfrey on P6 at the moment. So he's rounding out the third row of our grid at the moment. Dylan McDowell, P7. Harsh Kumar in P8. Jay Sweeney in P9. And Riley Price in P10. That's your top 10 as it stands right now. Got 45 seconds on the clock. So those who are about where Smith is now will probably get one more lap out of this qualifying. This is going to be the key one, though, for Dylan Smith. Got to get this one absolutely right just to be absolutely sure. And there's a couple of yellow flags as well as people do reset the pit. That is a great exit from the exits there from Smith. And we're switching over to another car temporarily. That's quite all right. Glenn will switch us back. There he is. Through Rind we go. Let's keep an eye on the 347 as he crosses the line and goes through the last corner.
Oh, it's good.
It's very good.
Touch on the exit. It's still going to be a very good lap. Enough for P2.
Margins are so close right now. He will get another lap as well. Yeah. So that is timing it to absolute perfection right there. And now we'll have to keep an eye and see what he's able to do. If he's able to find a 10th out there, he will find himself in pole position. Mitch Hobbs has concluded his qualifying. He's in the pits, happy with the 31.9 as it stands right now. Not safe though, because Kafil Slade has taken P1 away from him at the death there. So we see a Ford in the wall. Not an ideal parking spot either. A 131.917, half a 10th in it.
Wow.
Super impressive work.
Spinazzi here, almost 2/10 up, coming to the final two corners here. I don't know if he's got enough for pole, but it's definitely going to improve his position, even if it's just the one. Unless there's some mega time in the last corner here. He is improving. There's a touch on exit there. It's still going to be a 2/10 improvement. Going to push him up into P4. Half a 10th off of P3 there. So like the margins are insanely close in this qualifying session. We've got, I think that's everybody. We've got one driver, I believe that's the 29. It looks like they're on a valid lap, whether they're up or not.
Blaskovich is out there at the moment, so he's just about to come across the line. Let's have a little look. He's at P17 right now. Comes across the line, goes P12. Not too bad there. And that is our qualifying two done in preparation for the second race of the evening for Split Yellow. Wow. That was an impressive qualifying. And what a steal from Kafil Slade in the last seconds of qualifying session to take it away from Mitch Hobbs. There is 0.05 of a second in it. What a qualifying. Dylan Smith as well. Super congratulations to him. That's a top qualifying job there ahead of Matthew Spinazzi.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting here because obviously Spinazzi has the pace, as we saw in the last race. No rain forecast for this one, and we're starting on an optimum track as well. So that's going to be a big relief, I reckon, for the drivers out there. Definitely what they've practiced for. Very nice temps, 21-28 for air and track, respectively. But yeah, Spinazzi, I think, is going to come through the field. We'll see. We'll see if Slade can hold off Hobbs. I think it's going to be just trying to pull away at the start.
Don't do it, Glenn. Sorry, continue.
That is unbelievably cursed.
You know what he's done? He's gone into Blender and he's just clicked a massive image over the entire thing. And hats off to him for that kind of library creation. But my goodness, that is very much an abomination. Yeah. No comment. I think no comment. Are we going to get it even closer? Yeah, get a close up on the mustache as well. The eye and the mustache. I think that just makes it. Oh,
Yeah,
dear
that should
Lord.
be the thumbnail.
Right, we're changing the Octane Online Racing logo, folks. It's going to be that from now on. Nonetheless, we continue to run through a grid. Sorry, I interrupted a thought there. Please continue.
Oh, I think I've lost my train of thought there. Unfortunately, that livery, man. I'm telling you.
We're blaming Glenn.
No.
It's Glenn's fault.
Yeah. That is true. That is true. But yeah, I'd keep an eye on Spinazzi. We'll see what he can do. And Slade really needs to hope that Hobbs and Smith fight behind, because we know he's got the pace to hold off Hobbs. But I don't know if he can do it for half an hour if those guys are nose to tail the entire time. And obviously Spinazzi's going to want to make it back to backs, I reckon, and he certainly can from P4. So it's going to be very spicy up the top.
Certainly will. I do want to call attention to a couple of liveries out there. There's some beautiful work, of course, by Split Yellow. Absolutely stunning work out there by everyone. And a couple I want to call out the Starlight BMW liveries. I think it's the number 8 and the number 80. That is, of course, the Starlight Children's Foundation in Australia. So hats off for running that. It's a great foundation. Definitely one worth supporting. But everyone, wonderful work out there as usual. Stunning work from everyone on the grid. We're about to get onto our formation laps. Now, we did say that the drivers will be relieved with the dry conditions. Kapil Slade's been showing real pace in the wet. We'll have to see how he does in the dry, because he was here and there with the pace, I think, during the dry spell in race 2, and it was at night in non-optimum conditions. Everyone will have practiced the dry conditions, but now you're suddenly switching from 45 minutes essentially of wet running and changing conditions. Now we're suddenly really stable. There's still an adjustment period to be had there.
Yeah, that's right. It's not going to be an easy thing for any of the drivers. Interestingly here, P1 is on the left-hand side of the track, which means that you're on the outside for turn 1. So he's going to have a difficult time keeping Hobbs at bay on that turn 1. And as pointed out in the chat by Peach, Slade and Hobbs are reunited, I guess, to continue their battle that they had during the previous race.
There we go. So, right, chat in YouTube and Twitch, give us your predictions for what's going to happen. We've got a Pro-Am driver in P1 and P3. Hobbs splitting them at the moment, so it's a pro sandwich right now. And then Spinazzi in the number 8 BMW, currently in P4. McDowell, Maddox, Godfrey, Kumar, Sweeney, and Mags. Your top 10. We had some serious action in the first turn of lap 1 in race 1. Will it be turn 2 in race 2 and lap 2? We shall see. But nonetheless, we are looking forward to an exciting race. Gentlemen in the commentary box, before we get started, predictions from you both.
I'll let Brent have the honours this time.
Yeah, it's a tough one. I mean, Hobbs has always been consistent this entire season, but Slade's been showing pace. Previous race he had the fastest lap, but we've got Spinazzi in there as well. I might have to take plead the fifth, or give a bit of on the fence answer and say I'm not sure. But I think it's going to be great either way.
Very cool. And now the coin toss. Brent, who wants to take the start of the race?
You take it, mate. Go for it, mate. Yep.
All right, so we're around the final corner for the second time tonight. This is round 5 at Red Bull Ring of Split Yellow here at Octane Online Racing of the Simrigs Sprint Series. We're coming down. We're about to go green. The race start should be initializing about now, and it won't be too long until these cars go green. And there it is. There's the green lights. We come away. It's a little bit hard to tell from this angle here. It looks like Kafil has got a decent run.
Oh, there's contact immediately. That is Dylan Smith around. He has been hit. And it looks like he was hit potentially by the number 8, Spinazzi. And that'll be a yellow flag immediately because we have chaos. Oh dear, yeah, look at it.
That is big damage. Yeah. Oh no. I think we've cursed him again, fellas. Oh,
No,
no.
you know what? It's Red Bull Ring lap 1, turn 1. No, it's not on us. We are not going to be thrown under the bus for that one. That unfortunately is entirely up to the drivers to get that sorted out. And unfortunately, for the second time in a row, we have not made it through lap 1 successfully. That is a big bit of contact. Similar number of drivers involved. The race director has called for a safety car, and we will be going around, potentially restarting at the beginning of this lap, because it looks like everyone has gotten started again. I'm being blamed in chat. I wasn't even talking. So there we go. That's why I'm saying it's not our fault.
Oh dear, that's absolute heartbreak for Dill Smith and Spinazzi. They're on board here with the Lexus, so we'll see what happens on the start. Unfortunately, my screen froze after the first corner, so I wasn't able to see exactly what happened. Oh, he just gets bumped. It looks like the BMW just goes a little bit wide, and oh no, yeah, that's heartbreaking for Dill Smith, and an incredible quality from him to put it on the second row, just for it to all be over in less than 15 seconds. We'll see what he can salvage from this race if he does decide to stick it out.
Here's a different view. I think it's the number 8 that goes into the side of him. The number 8 does go up on the inside, clips the curve, and that's it.
Yeah.
So really at no fault of his own. Well, certainly not for Dylan Smith, but once you clip that curb, it's all over. And Spinazzi, unfortunately, has caused a rather large Spinazzi at the beginning of this race. And I do apologise to Matthew for that comment. Right, looks like we will be going racing again. So take it away, Breno. Don't curse us this time, eh?
I'll try my best. So McDowell's actually made his way up into P3 after all of that. Obviously started P5 on the grid, so he's on the bottom step of the podium. Kafil Slade gets a really good getaway, so we'll see what he can do. He needs a good run through this first corner here to hold off Hobbs into turn 2. He actually just clips the curb there a little bit, it looks like, but Hobbs does get a bit of oversteer on the exit. It's going to be drag race to the turn 2 up here. Slade looked like he's going defensive a little bit. I think he was just shortening the course there. Does actually just inhabits the middle of the track there. Just puts his car in a good spot there to just stop Hobbs from going from the inside or the outside. And yeah, he's doing well here. Pulled that gap out a little bit. We'll see what Hobbs can do under braking here, because it seems like this is where he's stronger over Kafil, as we saw in the previous race. It seemed like he closed a lot under braking. Porsche still hanging on to P3 here, but has dropped back from these leaders. Spinazzi there in P4. Oh, so it was that other BMW that spun.
No,
there's two.
yeah, the other BMW came into contact with Smith. Yeah, that's when he just turned around. Yep. Yep, too right. So, Brent, let's have your analysis as well on that lap one. We've got a number of cars in the pits taking that initial pit stop. Doesn't look like the weather's going to change at all through this race, so it's probably a decent move. Get some clean air and get some clean running out there, right?
Yeah, that's right. They'll take that opportunity to repair any damage that they have if it's bad enough, and yeah, probably not take tyres, I would guess. Save that potential 5 seconds, and then yeah. But I mean, up the front here, we've got a race happening. Slade's gonna have to hold off Hobbs for most of the race, I think, and they are making a bit of a break to McDowell behind with 1.1 seconds. And see if the two can sort of run away and battle on their own.
Indeed, that's right. So Mitch Hobbs does hold the fastest lap right now, sitting at a 29 flat. Kafil Slade was nearly as fast, but this is why Hobbs is catching him at the moment. Kafil Slade, though, breaking deep into all the corners, trying to avoid a similar deja vu. We've had one deja vu so far in this race, and so far we don't have another. Thank goodness for that. 5-second penalty being handed out to the 619 car down in P21, leading the Pro-Am category at the moment down there, and then just a run through the grid as it stands right now. 25 minutes on the clock. Kafil Slade from Hobbs, from McDowell, from Spinazzi, from Jacob Maggs, from Godfrey. He's found himself down in P6. Then Price in P7, Fleming and Grant Liu. And McDowell's going to be under a lot of pressure because here comes the number 8, Spinazzi on a charge. We've got two-way battles happening in the top 4 right now. And the one that we're focusing on is going to be Kafil Slade versus Mitch Hobbs, and this is going to be a battle for the ages. It's one that ended in tears, unfortunately, last race round, but this time it is dry conditions, so there's no excuses. Get the racing done properly, and I think that might have been a move in the background. There was a look from Spinazzi, nothing of it though, and Hobbs does not get a good run out of turn 1 this lap round.
Yeah, so those couple of penalties that have come through, we had a message in the chat for quali infringement 619, 222, and 165. So it looks like those are what have come through. So there may still be some additional penalties coming from that lap 1 incident.
And there it is. Spinazzi is through, so he's going to be on a mad charge to catch these Ferraris ahead and claim his possibly second win. Actually, no, unfortunately, I think he's got a penalty lined up, so he might be able to win on track, but I don't think the final standings are going to continue that trend. It's actually let the Ferrari of Mags catch up to the back of the Porsche McDowell here as well. So this might actually turn into a three-way battle. Spinazzi really needs to just clear this Porsche, which he doesn't seem to be doing at this point in time. The Porsche is showing some really good pace right over the back of the BMW, but obviously the Porsche can be very strong in this twisty section, whereas the BMW just has insane straight line speed here. Even with that 20 kilos worth of ballast, I think it has still very, very strong on the straights. Porsche goes a touch wide there. Possibly an infringement, depending on how clean his first couple laps have been. And yeah, Mags obviously wanting to make up some positions as well.
And give us a moment here. Broadcast getting sorted out. Just remember that Glenn juggles about 1,000 balls simultaneously. So the fact that he's got 999 up in the air at one time should be very impressive. That is the number 80 car pulling over, blue flag, of course. That is not Spinazzi, suddenly magically teleporting to the front of the grid. That is our leaders, Kafil Slade and Hobbs, going through, very close between them, less than 0.2 of a second. The number 222, actually, it is. The other Starlight BMW does pull over to the side of the road because I think he realizes there's a huge gaggle of cars coming out around him, does not want to get involved in that battle whatsoever. Hobbs looking really strong in Sector 1, but Kafil does seem to pull away from him a little bit in Sector 2 and Sector 3. See that start to happen right now, but Hobbs is right in the zone that he needs to be in. Just needs to wait for that opportunity, but where can it come? It's probably a waiting game until turn 1 or turn 2, I suspect.
Yeah, I think the move is probably waiting for a mistake. These guys are keeping up very good pace. They're gapping the cars behind. You've got almost 4-second gap to P3 and Spinazzi.
He's not
so
where I think he is he? He
Oh,
is.
he's going for the early pit stop. I was going to say the undercut could be a possibility as well. So this is definitely going to mix things up.
Yeah, I think it's a very, very smart move at this stage. And we had a lot of people go for their early pits as well. Maddox was one of those. So in a way, this could be covering off what Maddox has done too. But, you know, when you're running that close behind another car, you're going to be going with very hot tires, especially with 28 degrees Celsius out on track. You're going to be getting the aero wash into the corners, which means you're prone to making, you know, slightly more small errors during the apex, you know, on exit, on entry. So getting out into clean air, running the undercut, very, very smart move at the moment. Spinazzi doesn't need to think about that. He's got plenty of clean air in front of him, 4 seconds of clean air. But the likes of McDowell and even Mags should probably be thinking, let's pit early. And it's not even that early. We're nearly at 20 minutes remaining in this race, so coming up towards half distance. And that clean air is worth seconds out on track.
It'll be interesting to see how this works, because obviously Slade has full clean air ahead as the leader. So it'll be interesting to see where Hobbs comes out in relation to Slade after all is said and done. It might even be worth Slade just covering that off, like not going too much longer. Yeah, it's a tough one. So we'll see what he does here as he rounds the second to last corner. No, he's going for the racing line, so I don't think he's coming in. He is coming in, so he is going to cover off Hobbs. Okay, so he needs a little bit of grass there. The grass is pretty flat there. I don't think you lose a whole lot of time. So we'll see if Hobbs is able to jump in one lap. I mean that gap's really tight. That's like if you don't get the engine on as quickly as Hobbs has, he's going to jump you in the pits. So Kafil really needs a really good pit stop here, or at least one to match Hobbs to come back out ahead.
Yeah, Hobbs with this pit stop is currently equal first in terms of the amount of time spent in there, 28.1 total, 27.6 stop time. So he nailed the pit stop. So this has to be perfect from Kafil Slade, who might find himself dropping a position in the pits. We'll keep a very close eye on that. We're currently looking at Hobbs. He's coming up towards Rind now. And this is going to be a key couple of corners. How much speed can he hold down the straight and then into turn one? It's going to be critical that he gets a good run through turn one. And currently Kafil Slade still in the pits. He's just coming through the exit now, though. So here we go. It is about to all pop off. I think he's done it. I think he's done it, and it's going to be plenty of space ahead of him.
Yeah, he has too. So
wow,
possibly Hobbs has got held on that lap. Just a bit of, well, I'm going to say lap traffic, but just cars that haven't pitted, because it would spin him right out into the some of the guys towards the back of the field. But yeah, that gap has opened up 1.5 seconds now. It was more like 0.3, I think, when Hobbs decided to jump into the pits. So
there's also
very...
Sorry,
go ahead.
George.
No, you go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, it's likely they didn't take tyres with their pit stop time being under 30 seconds, and you do get the surface of the tyre cooling down, which if you push too hard when you first come out of the pits can lead to a bit of graining. So could have just been just a little bit less time or a little bit more difficult for Hobbs to get that first initial outlap in. As Slade continues on, and Hobbs with 1 lap pressure or warmer tyres, he should close that gap. But Slade's done very well to stay out in front of him by that sort of margin.
That's right. No,
yeah,
of course.
we do have Oh, go on.
No. I'm going to stay quiet.
I was just looking at YouTube chat here, and Cameron Thistlewhite does bring up a good point that Kafil Slade didn't completely use the blend line on the pit entry there. He did sort of merge a little bit. It's like he followed it for majority, but just still followed the racing line through the second to last corner, which you really have to take tight, similar to Watkins, to completely abide by the rules. So I'm not 100% sure what the steward's ruling is over the pit lane tonight. So we'll see how that develops. I think it'll just be a warning. I don't think that's penalty worthy, but we'll see.
We will. I mean, at places like Watkins Glen, the race directors are very clear. You must use the pit entry line all the way through, regardless, even if there's no traffic around you. Not only for safety concerns, but just for fairness of racing at a circuit like that, where you can get a big advantage, just given the speed of the final corner. But I mean, here, making a bit of a dive when you're on the outside there, but you will of course gain a little bit of time. Yeah, it's a tricky one. We'll have to see what the race director has said around the rules of doing that. I suspect that if you try to do that when you're in traffic, you will be given a penalty, because it can be a very dangerous pit entry if you have traffic around you, because people don't know where you're going, and if they try up the inside line and you want to come into the pit, well, you're going to have an accident, aren't you?
It could also be a double-edged sword, because obviously you have to brake earlier to hug that corner as tight as you need to, because usually you push out wide when you follow the racing line. So it could actually be a double-edged sword. Like, the car behind you is not expecting you to brake that much. It could actually go into the back of you as well if you do try and abide by the line fully. So it's a tough one. We'll see what the race directors reckon.
That's right. So refocusing on what's happening at the top of the race right now, Spinaze is leading us away, but he has a 10-second penalty, has yet to pit, of course. Kafil Slade technically in the lead of the race overall. The gap between Kafil and Hobbs, though, is starting to reduce ever so slightly. So Hobbs is driving very, very well as it stands right now. Currently in those who have yet to pit still, Dylan McDowell, Jacob Maggs, Riley Price, Grant Liu, Richard Wells, top 6 at the moment, technically, if we don't take into account the pit stops. Other than that, Robert Maddox has actually made up a fair bit of time in this. He's found himself technically in P3, but there's a 6.5-second gap up to where Hobbs is currently. So Robert Maddox may well be in the fight to take a P3 in this race when things are all said and done. Just seen Brownette have a major issue too. He's ended up right in the wall at the final corner. Yeah, so Nicholas Brownette, that's, not good, not ideal.
No, it can be quite easy to do. I know the McLaren's a very low car, so if you just you grind the curb there by bottoming out, can just send you straight round. So it'll be unfortunate for him there. We'll see. Well, I mean, he's obviously got a fair amount of damage, but he's continued on. So we'll see what he can do. He's actually, I mean, he had the 5-second penalty, but he has lost the lead to Kranich in AM class as well.
Of course, we love our AM category drivers. Only got a couple of them on the grid at the moment today. Paul Kranich is leading us in Series 17 for Split Yellow in the AM class, so Kranich on to continue that run of good form. But yeah, with that 5-second penalty for Brownette, unless Brownette can pull out some really, really good pace for the remainder of the race, he will be having to settle for P2. Looking at the other categories as well, we've got Spinaze or Silver leading away. Grant Liu is leading us technically on no longer because he's coming to the pits. So I suspect when he comes out of the pits, he will not be leading because that'll be Kafil Slade in Pro-Am category. So might be a few Pro badges being handed out at some point. We've had some really impressive drives from the Silver and the Pro-Am categories throughout the season in Split Yellow so far.
As we see a couple there, so Mags, Lou, and Sweeney all jumped into the pits as well as Bishop here. So these guys here pitting about the halfway mark, which is what I thought would be a bit more typical. Obviously, your tyres should last half an hour anyway, so I can't imagine people are changing tyres. I don't think it's worth losing the 5 seconds, especially with no threat of weather changing. That gap has come down about a second between Slade and Hobbs here. It was about a second and a half when Slade left the pit. It's currently just over 5/10 last time the board updated. And they've also just caught Kranich as well here, so technically doesn't actually have to give way as they are racing for position. If I'm being honest, it's definitely the smarter move to just let them go. It looks like he is, he's definitely let off the throttle, then he's going to let them through.
Certainly is. Although it is one of those things where I get the feeling that Kafil may have run into some of that traffic, and yeah, with not having any blue flags ahead of them at the moment, they will have to have just sort of fought their way through. Most will see the situation and go, yep, I know who that is. I know what the battle of position is for these two. Let's get out of the way. Oh, big slide for Mitch Hobbs. Nicely controlled, though, on the exit. Trying to get the power down. I think he's really keen to stay as close as possible through the exit of the S's here. Just pushed it a bit too hard through Worth Curve, and so he will lose that advantage that he had. It would have been very close into Rind this time round. That's one of the braking zones that you can maybe do something. Everyone does favor taking a nice wide line entry into it, and that opens up the inside line, of course, for those who are pitting and also for those who are overtaking. Bit of a scary place to overtake, I'll be honest, though.
Yeah, it's one of those ones. There's not a whole lot of very obvious overtaking opportunities here at Red Bull Ring. Even the ones, the big braking zones, like, well, I mean, turn 1 is a bit too quick to sort of go for a dive down the inside. Turn 2 here, very inviting, but also incredibly dangerous. Sometimes it can almost be better to try and go around the outside because you can get on the power earlier. You're not going up the slope as much if you force the car to the inside. So we'll see how Hobbs goes here. What he's brewing up to try and get past Kafil Slade.
As close as it's ever been. Hobbs is really pushing the go button right now. And Hobbs, that last lap was in 28.2. Kafil Slade was a 28.6. Kafil Slade was a 28.8. So there is a 10th and a half there difference between them per lap as it stands right now. And wide line from Hobbs. He's really pushing through Worth Curve and the S's. I think he really is eyeing up. This area here is where he's got the advantage over Kafil Slade. Wants to maybe find a way to go up the inside. We will see. We'll go again with 10 minutes now remaining on the clock. And this battle is not cooling down whatsoever, which is fantastic for us because we're going to have a great battle through to the end of this race. More pit stops coming out as well. Mike Crick in the pits. Miley in the pits as well in the 446 Ferrari. And I suspect we'll be seeing a few more in short order.
Speaking of pit stops, so McDowell and Mags jumped in as we saw about a lap and a half ago now. And Maddox has actually come out ahead of them, so he's currently net P3.
There we go.
So his mega undercut has actually worked wonders there.
That's beautiful. Yeah, I think Maddox was one of the ones to pit quite early in the race, and he was able to come out into reasonably clean air and put in some good laps. I think his fastest here was a 28.8 this stint, so not quite as fast as he could have been going. And Kranek, I think, has just had a crash. Nonetheless, we'll keep an eye out for what's happened there, but Maddox now up to P8. Still losing a lot of time to the two in the head, and then Dylan McDowell and Mags will be in behind them, but they are close, so it will become a three-way battle for what is currently looking like the P3 slot in this race. Depends, though, what happens with Spinazzi in that 10-second penalty. I think it'll spit him out in around P6 or 7.
Yeah, I don't think he's in contention, unfortunately, for a podium after that unfortunate meeting with the sausage curve on lap 1. But obviously, I mean, has the fastest lap and has held it basically all race apart from like the first couple laps. So we'll see. We'll see where he pops out, because like he's obviously got clean air, so he's going to be putting in some pretty good laps, I would imagine. May have just been able to claw back a little bit of that penalty.
We're on board with Maddox at the moment. You can see McDowell's right in his rear view mirror. As always, sometimes things do appear a little bit closer than they are in reality, and McDowell is very close right now. The 213 Porsche being the proverbial T-Rex in this battle right now. My Jurassic Park metaphors will continue, I'm sure. That is a good run through there. Oh, loose a bit on exit, though, does McDowell. Won't have a chance down into Schlossgold, and Maddox will get away with it for yet another part of Sector 2. Track is cooling as well, chaps. So it is getting a little bit cooler out there. That'll only help the tyres in their current condition. Seven minutes 45 on the clock now. It's 3:27 p.m. out on track. Looking forward to a three-way battle for P3 and a two-way battle for the lead of this race. Spinazzi yet to pit, Nick Jones yet to pit, Taplin yet to pit, so 3 yet to pit. And a 5-second penalty for Sean Bubb now, the 165 McLaren down in P21. Kranek also still to pit. He's sitting in P11 currently, so we'll have to do that in short order. So a mix of strategies, some going for the half-half, some going for an early pit stop, some going for an extremely late pit stop in this race as well. I have to admit, sometimes it does feel good to pit late. You go, oh, look at me, I'm in P3. Doesn't last particularly long, but, you know, it's always a bit of fun.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see, because it looks like the undercar has worked wonders for Maddox. I think it really depends on where you are on the grid. I'd say top 4 possibly. You could probably go the distance and just pit in the last third of the race. But I'd say somewhere in the midfield, the undercar is going to be very, very strong. So I won't be surprised if the guys from Split Green, they've been tuning into the broadcast tonight. We're getting some ideas. I know I certainly am for tomorrow night.
Yep, there'll certainly be interested eyes looking at what the weather brought this time round. Of course, we don't know if Split Green will get rain as well, but the weather randomness or the rain variable set at 0.4, so nearly a 50% chance of rain out there for all the races today. But lucky for us, we do get a proper optimum conditions race. I think we always love the wet weather, but at Red Bull Ring, it's just, wet weather really just does cause pure chaos at all parts of the circuit. We've seen that today, both race 1 and race 2, even though there was dry conditions for this start of this race. That turn 1 is going to be one to watch out for. Will Split Green get it right? We'll see. 5 minutes left on the clock. Maddox pulling a little bit of a gap now to McDowell, but nothing really to write home for. Mag still in chase between these two. There's Spinazzi coming out of the pits, and he will...
Yes.
Oh, that's a very wide line for Maddox.
Using probably one of his speed tokens there, I would imagine. Looking at Spinazzi, he's just actually come out just behind the battle here. I'm not sure how much inroad he can make in the last 5 minutes or so, but I mean, if these guys battle a little bit too hard, just a little bit of contact, a bit of argy-bargy, he could pick up some positions here and just, salvage what he can. I think a P5 is definitely possible.
Yeah, I mean, low fuel, fresh tyres, and what is going to be a pretty big slipstream if he stays within a second of Jacob Maggs, and with the BMW power in a straight line. That's some chips stacked quite handily in the favour of Spinazzi, but you know, Red Bull Ring is one of those tracks where there's like 2 corners you can do a proper overtake on, and the rest of them are all pretty dicey and single file for the most part. We refocus now on the battle for P1, Kafil Slade versus Mitch Hobbs. And Hobbs still going at it really close, as less than 0.2 of a second in it. Ferrari versus Ferrari. Ferrari party continues from Laguna Seca a couple of weeks ago, because we've had our break in between then. And no one is upsetting this party now in optimum conditions. So it's optimum Ferrari party conditions, turns out.
Yeah, I think we've got some great racing from both drivers here. Slade holding Hobbsy at bay, but Hobbsy also having the patience as he has a little bit of a look around the outside into turn 3. But yeah, just that patience here. As you said, there's not a lot of overtaking opportunities here at Red Bull Ring. Sometimes you have to wait for a mistake. But yeah, with 3 minutes and 45 seconds left on the clock, it's getting to that pointy end where Hobbs will be looking to try and make that position and take out the win.
Good defensive driving being shown here by Slade, and some very incredible patience being shown by Hobbs too. He nearly had him with the switcheroo on the back straight after turn 2, but yeah, Slade did do the old sit in the middle of the track, feign doing a defensive move and then moving straight back over the racing line. Hobbs going for it again through Worth Curve and the S's. Not going to be close enough though. I mean, it's just so close. Every time I want to get excited for an overtake, they sort of remain, well, Hobbs remains patient, and Kafil goes defensive but loses no time as a result of it. So really nice racing between these two with 3 minutes left on the clock. It's all going to come down to who will make a mistake first between these two. And if there's no mistakes, get the feeling that this might well be the order we see in 3 minutes time.
And just to really emphasize the pace of these two guys compared to the rest, they're currently 10 seconds ahead of Maddox in P3. So these guys are in a league of their own in the second race tonight. Obviously, Kafil Slade, a Pro-Am driver, I think he might be getting the promotion with a result like this at the end of the season. Please don't commentator curse him, man. I really want to see him take out the win today.
There we go. So if we look over at the standings as they are right now, they've passed the blue flag traffic into Schlossberg. They go, oh, Kafil Slade goes defensive, and this is the closest Hobbs has been on the outside line. Can he hold it around the outside? Is nearly contact the cameraman pointing in the wrong direction. Kafil Slade does hold on. Worth Curve, in we go. Hobbs, that was a great opportunity there, but around the outside is so difficult at Schlossgold, and you've got to be basically a length ahead on the outside to make it work, to force the other driver to give up the early acceleration out of the corner. Wow, brakes light there in the corner. Doesn't want to go into the back of Kafil Slade ahead, because you know what's worse than coming first is coming first with a penalty. There's another look at Rind. This is getting very exciting, folks. Keep your eyes pinned, because Hobbs is on a charge.
Yeah, this is going to be the last lap of the race as well, so that time has just ticked down. I thought it was going to be close. So yeah, 4 seconds in it. I'm assuming these guys continue to do 28s. So that last lap actually a 29.8 for Kafil there, so a little bit off his pace, about a second and a half off his best at this point in time. So probably a couple mistakes there. We've actually, Spinati goes up into P5, so he overtakes Mags. It'll be great to see a replay of that in due time. But yeah, no, this battle for the lead, I think is going to go down to the wire. Kafil just needs to hold on for one more lap.
This is it.
This is acceleration zones. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Good exit, though, for Kafil Slade. Hobbs has fallen back by about a 10th in this. Does go late on the brakes into Schlossgold. It's risky, but does decide that there's time to send it. Don't send it too hard. You've got to find that very fine balance between sending it too hard and sending it just the right amount. Oh, nearly misses the apex there. Does Kafil Slade. Nails it on the exit, though. Hobbs will have another shot. 20 seconds now ticking down. This is it. The last lap we are watching right now. Kafil Slade not making any mistakes. Hobbs runs wide in the S's. That means he's going to be too far back for a send in the last couple of corners. And I think that might be all said and done. Kafil Slade through Rindt. No issues whatsoever. Probably got a speed token or two at the end of this race too, but Hobbs will have to settle for P2 in this race. The timer ticks down, and that is going to be the race right there. Kafil Slade takes victory in race 2. Hobbs comes across the line. What a race there. Maddox with an excellent strategy call. It's very close between McDowell and Spinati, who's managed to find himself having a P 5 in this
Right.
race. Maxes lose out at the end. Woo.
Yeah, that's wow. Close again across the line there for the Porsche. That'd be some heart rate raising moments across the line. Both races there. So less than half a tenth in the previous one. And what's the gap this time? Yeah, 600ths almost of a second separating Spinazzi and McDowell over the line there. So wow, what a night
Very
of racing.
so up and down. We have been on a roller coaster here at the Red Bull Ring for round 5, and what a way to get back into Sprint Series racing after 2 weeks off. That is brilliant stuff. Of course, we do send our commiserations for anyone caught up in incidents. We've had our fair share here in Split Yellow, lots of yellow flags unfortunately coming out, but we look forward to what's going to happen in Split Green coming right up for your viewing, entertainment and pleasure in short order. We will take a look at our final timetable in just a few moments, but that right at the end there, Spinazzi taking the fastest lap and getting up into P5. That's a great recovery given all that he's gone through in this race, causing the incident as well early on in race 2. That's also a good result for Harsh Kumar. Does get a few more points, is leading the Pro-Am standings right now. And but for Kafil Slade, what an elevation in this race. Absolutely stunning work. So let's take a little look through race 2 results. It is Kafil Slade, of course, Pro-Am category winner and overall winner in this race. His first victory of the season. Well done to him there. Mitch Hobbs takes P2 Pro category victory. Then Maddox and McDowell, your top 3 in Pro category. Silver category winner for this first part here is Spinaze. We've got Walsh, Bubnout, your top 3. Looking to Am class, Pro-Am, sorry, first. I'm really giving Glenn the hard time right now. Kafil Slade, Godfrey and Kumar take it out. Good results from them. And then, of course, the wonderful Am class Brownette does actually beat out Paul Cranach in this race. Paul Cranach will still lead Am class in Split Yellow, but a good race there from both of them. We've got a lot to look forward to in the next split, but we've had a lot of fun in this one, chaps. It's been a good one.
Oh, 100%. After the little hiatus we had, while the Italian job Monza 8-hour was going on, we're straight back into it, and what a banger it was tonight.
Couldn't agree more. Brent?
Yep, great racing all round. Both of the races are very interesting. Great to see Slade win his first race, I believe. And yeah, the rest of the races for the next 3 splits are going to be very interesting.
They certainly will. We're going to go to a break in just a second. A big thanks, of course, to Glenn Germain stepping in. Mull is over in hospital at the moment recovering, so we do wish him a speedy recovery as well. And we will be handing over momentarily to the Split Green crew. That Split Yellow coverage tonight. Thank you all for tuning in for that. Stay tuned because Split Green is coming up in just a moment's time, and you will be in the very safe and eloquent hands of Cameron Thistlewaite and Mike Crick, who is making his way back from track and over to the commentary box. So a big thank you, of course, to the commentary team here tonight. Breno Ellis, Brent Sykes, and myself is George Cook. So thank you very much for tuning in. Chaps, a pleasure, as always, being in the comments box with you. We'll see you guys next week. And for now, we're going to go to a quick break, and then we'll be back for Split Green coverage.
Welcome back, everybody, to Split Green, the finalization of the qualifying, and we'll be going straight into race 1. Looks like Squires has gotten pole position. Excellent job by him. RAF Lightning in chat, Taufik in P2, and I believe that was Hind in P3. The dark and dusky nighttime qualifying straight into an early dawn for race 1, and looks like we have got a dry track. My name is Cameron Fesselthwaite. As ever, we've got Glenn on the cameras, and we'll be joined shortly by Mike Crick as he's just getting himself ready after having raced in split yellow just now. So a little bit of housekeeping. Half an hour race, 2 half-an-hour races, but with another qualifying in between to set the grid. No reverse grids as unlike previous rounds. And looks like a good job to have Squires on pole as well in the Mustang, I believe. Going well for one of our newcomers to the championship. Well, we'll go through the championship standing as we wait for the formation lap to go on along the way. So Cotter Hind leads the Pro Championship with 158 points over Taufik. Commanding lead, took out won both races at Laguna Seca. Silver class is headed up by Brad Palmer with 247 points, 20 points over Taylor in P2 in the Silver Championship. And going to Am and not Pro-Am because John Carter has 177 points with 53 points over Bolt. And Pro-Am is headed up by Andre Costa with 158 points, just ahead of Rad. So we'll run through the grid. Squires here in the Ford Mustang number 9, silver class. Very good job by him. Followed by Taufik in the Ferrari, doing a very good job. Is the Taufik, the Ferrari going pretty strong here at the Red Bull Ring. Connor Hind, probably his first non-pole position of the season so far in the 705 McLaren. McLaren's looking very strong here in the right hands, I will say. Luke Johnson, as ever, in the Castrol McLaren, although it's been blacked out this time, no longer the white, green, and red of old. Hamilton in the first of our BMWs, 806. You can always trust Hamilton to be towards the pointy end, followed by Taylor. Chris Taylor, not in AM class, definitely not AM class, but is holding up the silver class. So not ahead of Squires right now, P2 in silver, whether Squires will get bumped up to pro with the kind of pace he's showing, but we shall see. Maybe the rain will be his undoing. Purcell in the Ferrari 296 and 125, followed by Costa, Cook, and Palmer for the top 10. And Stimson in the first about AMGs, a pair of BMWs in the form of White and Carter, and then Hignett all the way down at P14 in the Lamborghini. With an outlying performance from Hignett, I will say myself, not expecting him to have him down there. We get now going for the formation lap. Definitely a few more McLarens in this split as opposed to split yellow, and we shall see what car comes out on top. I think there's a pretty good spread of strong cars here at Red Bull Ring. No true outliers, no GTRs wide. Remember in this split, which is a damn shame. Terrible split, worst split. A few more talking points. We got our race for Muller this weekend on Saturday, 15th of June, 90 minutes at Nords. Come join us. We'll definitely be racing. Maybe there'll be a stream. We'll see what happens. Definitely come and join and help us support us and help support Sean on his road to recovery, as well as a shout out to Mullock as well. Hope you get well, big man, as well as Peach. You and your little lad. Hope everything goes soon. Too much of that stuff right now. I hope everyone's on the mend. Everyone gets back to what they want, their love of racing. Getting through turn 627. Not too many corner names on this track. I think we've got Nicky Lauda Curve, Sprint Corner, and Rack Corner. Not too many, at least not on my track now. We're going by the numbers this time. Only 10 curves here, 4.3 kilometers. Fastest lap in real life is by GT3's Christian Engelhardt, the 2017 ADAC Championship in the Lamborghini Huracan GT3. At 128.4, which is pretty impressive. The original GT3 Huracan as well, not on it. Neither of the two Evo specs. Coming around the last corner now, and they'll form up for a double file on the formation lap. I am joined by our lovely Ricky as well. I'm glad to have you here just in time for a formation lap, but I won't spring it on you as we're heading towards the line. Bit of a late start on this one. 5 red lights, and we have green. There's an even start between the two at the front between Taufik and Squires, with a strong start behind the McLaren. Late braking from Taufik, gets the lead early. Ooh, but a little bit of a choke up on Apex, and is hit by Squires as well as we're going P4. No, please, no! And there's contact, but they're all still going straight along. That's amazing. Thank goodness, otherwise no safety car start for us. It's lit yellow as we've got the BMW. I believe Hamilton looking to thread the needle between Squires and Hine as they're still 4 wide through the AMS curve. Definitely a few people having to take to the escape roads. I don't blame them, to be honest. See Bertolini there in Porsche behind the BMW trying to get a slipstream with Barker on his left. Braking down the outside, even later braking from the 82 McLaren as well, and they make good positions and make good gains around the BMW. Go around the outside, that's sensational stuff. I hope it was planned, not just a late braking. Oh, that's a bit of a set for McLaren. That gap's not open. Tries to force the gap on the 928 BMW, but no, not happening so far. Commanding lead now from Taufik. That was a very committed send into turn 1. He had the nose up there and he braked the later and took it off Squires as well with a little bit of contact. Hopefully not too much damage to dictate the race, as Squires is hopefully trying to find his feet on himself, but under the threat from the McLaren. Ricky, how are we?
Good, mate, good. How are you?
I'm out of breath, mate, after that
Yep.
one. That was a hectic first lap.
That was a very good first lap there, but good to see everyone kept it nice and clean. No safety cars this time around. Still, everybody bunched up.
Back.
We have some death. Successful.
Yeah. 844, 69 of Tonkin,
that's
and
Bertolini.
Bertolini.
He was a bit up there too. Unfortunate for him.
Looks like it might have been just those two, maybe one other as well, but hopefully they can keep going without too much damage. Yep, split green, not adverse, but that's what turn 1 gets sometimes. A lot of different approaching lines, a lot of different braking zones as well, depending on what you're driving. And it's very much a commitment corner.
Yeah, absolutely. I was surprised in our race just how many different lines people were taking through turn 1 and gaining speed, and yeah, it's an interesting track, this one, for the different cars. They all seem to take it just that little bit differently. There's not sort of one. There's obviously always an ideal line, but there is a little bit of breathing room just because the track's so wide and different cars respond better to these sort of sweeping curves we've got here. As we see Squires trying to chase down.
He's really out wide, and he got a big sideways moment on the exit of the curb as he, I think he got a bit of a bottoming out from the inside curve. Oh, it does well to carry it all up and not lose a position to Hind as well. It's doing a very good job, Squires. Does to hold now the fastest lap of the true first lap of the race in terms of representative time, but is looking strong and definitely looking to maybe take things out. Bloody hell, he's really closed in on the Ferrari as well. That was amazing how much he was gaining in the draft, as well as the power of the Ford's V8 as well. It's definitely going to have the slipstream now coming towards the rock curve at turn 4. Taufik tries to cover him off, goes left, goes right. Oh, it's a bit of a secondary move. I think there might be some numbers called for that one. But yeah, good job that both of them are going still straight and not both are turned around, because that very easily could have happened, especially with a second move from Taufik there.
And this is all just inviting Connor Hind in, chasing down Squires, looking for those mistakes. Squires has tried to chase down first position, but he's really got to watch Connor behind, who's got heaps of pace in that McLaren. And he's right up on his tail now after that little bit of a stop there from Taufik. Taufik had definitely got a struggle here. That Ferrari not quite as good on its exit speeds as the Mustang is behind, or even the McLaren behind him. So
again, Squires gets a little bit squirrely on the exit for their namesake, but yeah, I think this track really shows the difference. Is definitely a lot more David and Goliath of the old BTCC styles of the power versus the nimbleness of certain cars. And definitely know, as we are GTR drivers, let's say like, wow, you guys can take a lot of that turn one curb, yeah, but we're taking about 5Ks less in terms of corner speed. Was that Hindy has a look, but definitely too far back to do anything about it, and has got Luke Johnson just behind him in case anything goes wrong.
yeah, despite the width of the track, it is quite difficult to pull off some overtakes here. You know, you can defend pretty successfully here, even if you're just a little bit slower. It's not as slam dunk overtakey as you might think. Turn one's a really good place for it, as you said, because the different cars can all brake at different points. Like you said, the GTR can, yeah,
Absolutely, yep. As well, Cricky's like issues as you were saying. I think just to cut you off towards the end there, but I get what you're saying. Yeah, like the different styles, different, much different ways of making the speed here. So we do have a yellow flag. It looks like Tonkin has had another incident and has gone round at the turn 5 corner, and not having a good day for him, along with his earlier contact with Fercolini, I believe.
Yeah, it hasn't been a good start. But thankfully, there's 2 races tonight, so you know he can make it up for it in the second one. Looks like all dry running for this first race, but there's always a chance to get a bit wet. We had a bit of rain in the first split yellow, so it'll be interesting to take tons of curbs here. Sorry, yeah, that's just the Discord push-to-talk bug is fighting me at the moment. Let me work on that.
No worries. We'll just have to make sure. We'll have to keep it to short and snappy sentences in that case. But we'll manage, as Squires having another look at Taufik, but then becomes under threat from Hind here as well. Definitely where the McLarens and the Ferrari is definitely stronger than the Mustang through this little squirrely bit. Definitely where the natural rotation and nimbleness, the better balance, but then the grunt from the Ford Mustang and able to apply the power, as Hind didn't get the best of exits. It's going to come under threat from Johnson a little bit. They're going to have a look, but Johnson, yep, doesn't really have that much his hand in play. As then again, Squires gets a good run off the last corner, no sideways action, and really giving Taufik a hard time, gaining so much in the draft, but elects not to go up ascend into turn 1. Not an ideal place to pass. Good run from Taufik out of turn 1 though, and will hopefully be able to be far enough ahead from Squires. But that said, he's coming, he's closing in, the gap is closing. He looks to the inside, but elects to not send it inside. That's a very sensible move from Squires. I do understand that is very good driving. Kind of really got to be in it to demand that sort of space, and yeah, caution of ahead of adhesion. We'd like to see it. Oh, that's deep from Taufik though. He's kind of defending fresh air a little bit, but still manages to get enough rotation to make it on the exit as well.
Yeah, Squires just losing it a bit there. It's interesting his approach into turn 2, because it's he really should be trying to go for the outside there. Taufik's defending on the inside. If he was to go more towards the outside, I think Squires would have a better run down that back straight.
Yeah, we've seen in a lot of different formulas, and especially in real life, you go to the outside to get a better run through that corner. But I think, as we see, it looks like the 2 McLarens are both coming for a box. Yes, they are. They're coming in within the blend line. Nicely done. But yes, I think with traction control on these GT3s, I think Connor's, he stopped a bit early and has caught Johnson out a little bit. And there was some small contact there. That was probably a little bit alarming for Johnson. And we'll have to see whether that's Hine kind of getting stopped too soon, or whether Johnson got in too late. And I'm hoping neither of them will get a speeding penalty as a result.
Yeah, hopefully didn't push him a little bit over the line there. It is a tricky one. It is a fast approach in there, and you can take quite a lot of speed. Yeah, just didn't quite predict Connor's actions there, I think.
Absolutely. Taufik doing a good job so far, despite, I think that 2 moves on the braking that we did see, I think, on the second lap was probably a little bit over the line, but we'll see what comes of it, whether Squires is even, they can only report what they they can only work on what's reported with the stewards, unless it's a big incident, or generally on the first laps as well. They'll proactively search through those. But we shall see what happens. I think Taufik can definitely, I don't think it can go. There's no real either way with these two. I think definitely one can win. Any of them can win, to be honest. And I don't think it's safe, and they're gonna have to work bitterly hard all the way to the end, and it might just have to be this way like that, which is great for us, probably not great for their blood pressure though.
Yeah, probably gonna have to watch out for Connor's lap times too. Now he's got some fresh air. I imagine that's why he pitted that little bit early, because he was getting held up there. So he's going to be looking to set some real hot laps and try and undercut these guys, and he's got a good chance of it. He's got a beautiful clean track ahead of him, so have to keep an eye on how his progress is going.
Absolutely. We're a short track here as well, and not too many people getting caught up. There's a lot of clear air as well, so no real threat of coming into traffic on this run. They go very wide through the left-hander, and definitely a lot easier to take those corners in the McLaren than the GTR. The GTR was quick here, but I hated through those corners. It just felt like everyone was gaining time on me. Even the Lexus was.
Yeah, definitely. It's the one I struggled with the most. It's fantastic in a few sections, but those bits there, yeah, all the heavy downforce cars were catching me for sure in those sections.
Absolutely. You see, we run through the field. We did see Cook down there. I think he also has come into the pit and probably gained some time as well. But we see, we're used to Brad Cook, probably being a bit further up the field. I think he's still kind of finding his, trying to find the best way of piloting that Mustang. And it's, it is a far cry from the Porsche, but we know how quick Brad Cook can be. And we'll be interested to see how he deals with this undercut as well. And hopefully we'll gain time just like many of the others.
Yeah, it definitely seems like a handful of the Mustang at the Red Bull ring. Just doesn't seem to be quite as hooked up or quite as stable as something like the Ferrari, although it does have that advantage of the straight line pace and the extra torque that the Ferrari's kind of lacking. And we're seeing that in the battle between Squires and Taufik at the front. But yeah, it seems like definitely a little bit of a handful. I've seen a lot of Mustangs just getting that rear end a bit looser than they probably like.
Yeah, to be honest, it seems to be quite a trait with the Mustang. I think it seems quite drivable, but it seems quite hard to maybe get the tippity top pace out of it. A lot of people look very kind of lost at sea with it a little bit at times. But we definitely see a lot more people coming into the pits now, as we did see David Greco did have a penalty for causing a collision on the number 8 car, 15 seconds. So that will not be helping his race at all so far. Ramesh and Beaton as well coming into the pits.
Yeah, really tight field. No,
sorry, go on.
No, you do shout out. After you, Cam.
I will. Okay. Italian job. Just a shout out is going to be on the 13th of July, 1 month away. It's Misano 8 Hour as well. It's our sort of our micro endurance series between the 3 Italian tracks. We had Imola last month, and we'll be having sorry, not last month, the earlier of a week, I believe, the earlier of June.
It was also Monza.
Yeah. It was also Monza. Yes, it wasn't Imola. Tisk. They're all the same.
Yeah, it's same
really. I'm gonna ruffle some feathers by saying they're all the same. Feel very strongly about Monza.
Gonna have some very heavy waved hands in your air there. We've got a bit of a move going on here, though. This is Barker battling there with Stimson. Stimson, having that outside line. I think the Mercedes might have the advantage here. Little extra tippity top pace. He's got the outside stronger exit here.
Oh, they're both breaking very late. What's happened? We need to know.
Yeah, bad cameraman. Yeah, a little bit of contact there, but they came out of it okay. Unfortunately, yeah, Stimson a bit losing out there.
Absolutely. It looked like I think Stimson maybe had just enough grunt. It was edging ahead and tried to kind of, gave Barker maybe a little bit of hip on the entry to maybe see if he would back out of it, but Barker didn't do it, and they went as late as they could. I could tell both of them, the way they were really stamped on it. They were braked as late as they could, and I think inside line wins quite as you'd expect on that one, but a good run here from Stimson on the exit as well. I'm not sure, we don't see many Mercedes these days racing in ACC. That's as wide as you want to go on the exit, and he gets a good run as well with the slipstream. The slipstream is very powerful here as well, as you can imagine.
Yeah, I had a Mercedes. I had a Mercedes chasing me for the last sort of 5 minutes of my second race there, and as we see, a Mercedes getting a bit of a tap. Yeah, can be quite strong out of that first turn. That was definitely hard to defend from, and yeah, unfortunately, Stimson just getting caught out there. A little bit of a tap.
I think that was Vintner, and it looks like Rad's going to get ahead, but Stimson's going to brake as late as he dares. And he goes up the inside, and I think Rad tried to turn in when there was a car there.
Yep.
And maybe that one will be shuffled off to the stewards, but Fercolini's got ahead of Rad on that occasion. Rough racing, tough racing.
I think Fernando Alonso might have some comments about that one. Always got to leave the space.
Always got to leave the space. But yes, Stimson, you got I think a tap from Ventnor, so maybe driving a little bit frustrated as goes a bit wide there. I think he might be sending it a bit hard. The Mercedes generally, I think he doesn't mind it, but the tyres will have a different opinion on it, to say the least. There's a lot of cast iron block to move around, especially on the front axle. It's like Rad immediately is displaced Fercolini, so that's become undone straight away. And there's probably a bit annoyed as well at Stimson, whether rightly or wrongly, and it's got to come back at them. So two maybe slightly teed off drivers is maybe positive is a positive, make a negative, or whichever way it is.
Yeah, everybody's still quite tight together here, and it's a small track, so there isn't a lot of opportunity. But like I said, it can be quite difficult to overtake, and we're sort of seeing that here.
There's someone in chat. We've been all caught up in what we're seeing on screen, but we haven't been looking at the stops, and we did see Squires has boxed, but has dropped back even behind Cook, so he's fallen quite a few positions. Maybe he elected to take tyres. It is I believe a 25-second stop if you don't take tyres, and 30 seconds if you do. A minimum of 25-second pit stop, and maybe he has elected to take tyres, which is probably the wrong decision at this rate.
Yeah, I wouldn't imagine it's the right decision here, especially in your battle at the front there, unless you completely cooked it and had a spin or something like that. So it'd be interesting to see. Unfortunately missed that. That was completely under the radar there. So it looks like Connor Hind is getting ahead of Squires and has undercut him successfully. As we see this nice little battle here.
This is Hignett and Johnson. I believe is Hignett getting past Johnson on that case. Attacked around the outside of rock curve and held it side by side all the way down to turn 5 and turn 6, and is eventually gone ahead by turn 7, 8, and 9. Oh, but it slides wide, but I'm having to put some opposite lock into the turn 9, I say, and Johnson gets back ahead, and it is all come undone from Hignett, and he has to try again, because he's got Purcell in the silver class right behind them to pick up the spoils. the freebies that come his way. And, gladly munch down on those as they got cooked behind. I think maybe Weber Squires took tires, we'll see, but maybe there's some more. Maybe he overshot his stop, maybe he got moved, we'll see, because that is a lot of time to lose, we'll say. But Taufik's still out there leading the race. I think it gets very late on the brakes, tries to take the better line through the corner. The McLaren's turbos kick in a bit though, and they do pull away. Lamborghini really doesn't have a lot of power, a lot of torque. There's a fairly draggy car, as we know. Generates good downforce very late on the brakes. He's going to go up the inside, and there's contact as well. Oh, Duke Johnson doesn't go around like when I tried to pack him, get past him several seasons ago, and does come out ahead, but he's under attack now from Purcell, and going side by side into turn 6. As I think Hignett was maybe a smidge too late on the brakes there, and keeping the stewards busy, keeping them honest. Keeping them, dead set alcoholics at this rate, as I believe Brad Cook has also gone ahead of the Hignett as well. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear.
Yeah, lost 2 positions with that dive there, unfortunately for Hignett, but the pace is still strong. He's still got a bit of time, and once again, there's another race after this, so maybe he'll learn the lesson from that and maybe not try it next time. Some
fighting words in chat right now. It's more fired up than a sprint chat room. There's a Mustang coming out the pits, but I don't think it's in contention for these guys. A good old train here as Brad Cook now in the slipstream of Purcell. Gonna have a look up the inside. It's gonna be 2 by 2, and should get it stopped. But we know how good the Ferrari TC is, and he's got arguably the better line. He's got less rotation to do, and he should have a good exit, but the power surely is going to cover it. But Purcell does a good job. He covers the line off. Do not give him the option. If you want to stop him, get in front of him. Yeah, holding on well here. Doing well, leaving a bit of the space. Maybe a bit of a touch there, but no, they've both navigated that very well. Maybe he can take some notes from watching behind there about how you can do a dive there. Oh, I think it was a touch there, though. Yep. So 695 went into the back of Purcell a little bit, and now Hignett's going to try and capitalize, but there's no real where to go. And we've got also big slide from Hignett as well, lovely jubbly. And Hignett, sorry, I'm losing my composure. That's for damn sure. As Cook is now, as Chris Taylor, who we saw emerging from the pits, he's wrongly classified as an M, is going to go up the inside of Hignett. Hignett squirreling left and right, and they've got Squires in the background as well. It's a Mustang party. Who's attacking who? It's all kind of jinking back and forth as Squires looks to have a go on Taylor after he was having a go on Hignett. And boy, oh boy, oh boy. You've got another Mustang coming out of the pits lane. Why you're all like black? Oh, that's a bit of a late from there. And Hignett had to send it over the curb, and monster truck style over the inside curves to avoid it, as I think Taylor loses his braking zone a little bit, and Squires down the exit. Here comes. He's going to look the inside. We're going to make it 3 wide. No. Squires up the inside. Hignett's going to have the outside and a better run, and Taylor is the loser out of that one. Yeah, amazing stuff. Yeah, good for them all to get through that. Taylor, unfortunately, getting squeezed by those two there. Nothing wrong with it, but yeah, just was in the wrong position to make a move there. It was, we see. That's Purcell going a little bit wide, getting stuck. Meanwhile, by the way, Taufik did make the pit stop, and Connor Hind is slowly catching up there, P2 and P3 at the moment. John Carter yet to pit, last pitter. Going to take it really late by the looks of it. Absolutely. It looks like everything's calmed down a little bit. But yes, from P6 downwards, I think it's all crazy, to say the least. Even with Luke Johnson just ahead, to be honest, from P5, it's all a big train. Little clusters here and forth. So yeah, Connor Hind on the back. Oh, that's wide. That's Taufik off track. Might have gotten a speed token for his troubles as well. As we see, Hamilton is now ahead of Johnson as well. Johnson really, despite pitting the same time as Hind, we've missed whether he maybe took tires as well. As he's come out a long way behind Hind on this occasion. And Hamilton is right there. We haven't seen much from Hamilton. He's kind of just been there, been ready to, gain if there's any, commiserations to be sent. Yeah, we'll see. John Carter, the leader, is now in the pit, so these guys will take up the race lead.
Yeah, so I think a good move from Connor Hind doing that early pit stop does seem to have given him the advantage here, as he's now right on the back of Tafiq, and a little bit more of an evenly matched battle here. The McLaren on the Ferrari. Both cars pretty similar, definitely some differences, but pretty similar in terms of downforce and what corners they're going to be reasonably strong at. And McLaren going to have the advantages on the exit, but the Ferrari is going to just take all those curves, as you just saw, a lot better. But yeah, it's going to be interesting to see which of these two comes out the victor with only 5 minutes to go, perhaps.
Absolutely. Be interested to see where the 22 of car that comes out is leading the silver. AM championship. Definitely not an AM. With the season showing, doesn't get moving until now, and I dare say he's going to come out right in the thick of it, in that little colostomy. He might be towards the pointy end a bit, and might slot into around, looking like maybe just behind Cook, so alongside with Pete Cook. So, yep, in the BMW, it's going to be side by side, but I think Cook's going to have the speed to cover him off. And P6 Mikado, that's a hell of a jump, because I didn't even take note of where he was before his pit stop, but I don't think he was in the top 10. Shout out to Cook as well. Cook definitely didn't start in the top 10 and had maybe an average qualifying, but has done a good job in the race to claw his way back up to the lead. We did see one of the lap cars get out the way of the crazy pack that is forming from P5 downwards, to say the least. Chris Taylor, and I believe that is Yoda has gone ahead of Hignett as well. It's maybe falling apart for Hignett a little bit. We did have to note the track has become optimal. It did start as a fast track in the start of this race, and Hignett is really sideways. I think those rear tires are gone. I've seen him do a few slides now. I know that's kind of like how he likes to drive, but it's really starting to hinder him, as he's got Brian Kong on the back of him as well. Hopefully with no internet issues unlike last season. And definitely, Hignett really struggling in the Lamborghini.
Yeah, it's just been all pressure on him. He sort of made that one mistake. Just been slowly falling back as we've been watching on here. It's not gone terribly well. Hopefully he can learn some things for the next race, but I definitely, from some of the people we see now in the top 10, the undercut really strong here at Red Bull Ring. We kind of knew it, but we haven't had many races here, so it's good to see it a bit confirmed that the undercut does seem like the strongest strategy around here. Yeah, especially in a bit of trap.
Yeah, we've definitely got the clear race. Like, we have seen a few people who did box early, but I think, like, especially in that crazy pack that we have, a lot of those guys have actually ultimately lost out. Like, Carter have gone ahead of it by overcutting, just because they're not, fighting tooth and nail every lap, losing time overall every lap. And I think that's clean driving, just doing your laps. It's not as fun, definitely not as doesn't get the highlight reel, but can get you the result. So
yeah, absolutely.
Here, doing everything he needs to as well, holding up Connor Hind. Connor Hind's been looking so dominant this whole season, but it might be this might be the first race that comes undone with the custom BOP as well. I think undoing a bit, because I know the McLaren is very strong here, as I think Peach proved a couple of seasons ago, or whether it was last season, when this track was kind of freshly added to the series. McLaren is very strong here, but I think the LFM Bop has kind of nipped it in the bud a bit, as long with the recent Kunos BOP changes as well.
He's sort of falling into the clutches here. Is it Tafiq getting a little bit of a rubbish exit there, which has now brought Connor back in. He'd fallen back, but now he's on the way back on the attack, and Liam is behind as well. So we've still got a three-way battle for the lead here. Liam definitely deserving a bit of credit. He just sort of came out of kind of nowhere. We weren't sort of watching him, and suddenly he's in P3 and he's challenging Connor, and even got a shot at Tafiq. But a minute and a half left. Tafiq could just hold on. He's been doing a really good job defending this lead. It doesn't seem like he's got the outright pace, but he's doing a fantastic job of holding on and defending from all these guys behind him. So, yeah, I'm rooting for him to hold on.
Absolutely. Yeah. Brad Cook here leading the crazy pack. The Squires has kind of recovered a little bit of the overall position he's lost. Whether he did take tires or not, I'm sure he'll probably come in chat and explain what happened, or at least in the sprint room, chat room, in the Discord. Join the Discord if you want to partake in his races. Hit the like button, hit the comments, hit up the chat, Twitch, YouTube. We love having you here as we do start the penultimate lap of race 1. Just a shout out, so this is not a reverse grid. There'll be a 12-minute qualifying 2 after this to determine the grid for race 2. Half an hour again, but different conditions, that's for sure.
Yeah, interesting format this. I definitely like I like the reverse grid races. It can be really good for some of the guys who don't generally place or qualify.
You're not a steward, are you?
Well, yeah, no, definitely not. But it can be a bit of fun to see those guys who maybe don't get the as often because they're. Yeah, exactly. You know, it can be nice, but it's interesting this sort of short format where everybody gets to qualify twice, and we've got very varied conditions for this race, which I think has worked out quite well. It's not all wet running, which I'm sure some people will be very happy with. We've had dry running across both races, both splits so far, as well as a little bit of wet running. So, yeah, curious to see what the next qualifying session is like. But God, it's so hard. It's so hard to pick a battle to look at here. Chasing each other all the way across the track. I'm sure we're missing heaps.
Yeah, as Taufik takes the honours for race 1, followed by Hein, followed by Hamilton, and really closing up a steadfast victory, a defensive victory somewhat as well as Cook, followed by Carter, and then surely by Squires. As he's sure as soon as that car hits us, he'll be in YouTube chat before the wheels stop turning, that's for sure. And we got Weberburn, Hignett, and Taylor to round up the top 10, and also to shout out Luke Johnson and Cook as well in P4 and 5.
Yeah, it's quite
crazy race.
Absolutely, he got the fastest lap of the race, Squire. So he got that little extra. But yeah, probably a bit disappointed. It'd be interesting to know what happened in his pit phase because he lost a lot of time, a lot of positions there. He may have had a spin or something on the exit, or caught up in blue flag. I know I got caught out on my pit stop in my first race with traffic. Around here it can be pretty bad if you get stuck in blue flags because you pit a bit earlier and pit a bit too late. You really got to time it well.
Yeah, looks like Weber Yoda has copped a 5-second penalty. We shall see for causing a collision on lap 18. Thank you to race control for that one. We didn't manage to catch that. There was the amount that was going on. I'm not surprised though. There was a lot going on. There was probably a few bumps and scrapes. And 2 penalties. I'll take it. 3 penalties. Sorry. As we reset, race, no matter what you did in race 1, we've got a bright sunny day, 28C for qualifying 2. Very different conditions. We'll see how the cars react.
Yeah, optimum track too, so definitely going to be all about pace. Yeah, a bit of a shorter session in this one, but it's good that they'll have, looks like the same track conditions for the whole session. A little bit of cloud cover, but still going to be the fast. You're going to be able to put your fastest times down here, I think.
As I said, yep. Aiden already in the chat.
He should be out qualifying. Get out of chat.
Yep. I'm always like, I kind of like the reverse grid because if you go into top 10, you could have a nice break. Because I was always exhausted after race 1. Because these half-an-hour races, they really are a full-on sprint. Not that the longer races are not as crazy as they can be, like they sure are. But I think with the half-an-hour sprints, everyone just throws everything. There's no tire conservation whatsoever, as we see Sam Austin here going a little slow. I think he's just trying to find a gap, but with the cars coming at the rate they are, he's going to be finding that gap for a long time. I think he wants to slot in maybe behind Greco, I believe.
Yeah, maybe trying to find someone who he knows is around his pace, just so he's not going to get caught from behind and not going to catch the person ahead of him. Especially a short track like this, that's always part of your strategy as well.
Yep, smart thinking as well. You got to take 2 to tango. Don't start right behind am driver, if you know you're quick, you know, leave space, try to give your appropriate space. Don't try and force space as well. Use those two brain cells, rub them together, you pro drivers, and try and find your own gap sometimes. And it doesn't matter if you're quicker, right on that bumper, then they're obliged to let you pass if they're on a valid, and even the one after that. See, I'm not too sure who was the first to start their laps. I think it might be 67 or the 695. I wasn't paying attention. Your shock horror, wasn't paying attention, that's for sure. Commentary things.
Yeah, I do believe it was Brad Cook, who is looking like he's on a fast one at the moment. Probably hoping to do a little bit better. He didn't seem to have a good qualifying for the first race.
I think Hegner as well will want to throw away race one completely. I think he qualified, I believe, in P14, and maybe just scraped into the top 10, if anything, and just kind of looked a bit all at sea at the Lamborghini. And not too sure. We obviously got the custom BOP as well from LFM, and not sure where the Lamborghini feeds into that. We'll have to ask probably Mir as well. We'll see what Mir does if they race tomorrow. And as they're probably one of the other stronger Lamborghini drivers. And, who knows? It's not always the car, still it can be the driver. But we'll see. As Taufik takes the top step so far, provisionally on a 28-1. It is an optimum track. It is warm. It might be a bit of track evolution, but to be honest, the track has done most of the evolution it's going to do so far with being optimum already. So I'm sure we'll get some steadfast times here.
Yeah, optimum is always as with all of the track states, it's a bit of a sliding scale. So you can be optimum, but it's only just optimum, just past fast. So it's not quite at the full optimum, if you will. It'd be really nice if we maybe had a few more track states ACC could give us. But we live with what we've got. We know it's optimum. We know we're going to see some reasonably fast times here. I think 28.1's a good start, but I think there's going to be people looking to break into those 27s.
I think the community can definitely think of a few labels for track states between anything lower than optimum, to be honest, especially between that green and fast stage, that's for sure. You see, looks like an invalidation there from Hamilton and the BMW as they just got over the line a little bit. Track limits, very touch and go here. I think it's very easy to kind of go over the limits, but they do give you a fair amount of runoff where you can more than cars whiff over the white line, to say the least. And I kind of do empathize with people who say it should be just a white line, it shouldn't be anything else other than that, just to make it simple. But oh well, track limit discussions to the end of time, to say the least.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I was amazed when I first watched because when the track was new and I watched someone do a pro lap around here, and I was seeing just how far to the edge you could push it. Look at Cook there going all the way over the curbs, and I was like, oh wow, that's how much you can take, and instantly 2 seconds up on my lap time. Like it was just.
Yeah, it's a little bit like Barcelona as well into turn one, like the amount that the pros go fully off track. I find that's I think that's where I think some people find it a little bit weird. It's like, why does it let you go 4 wheels off track there and not here sometimes? But that's where it gets a bit weird. As well as Misano obviously being the track cutting king, to say the least. In terms of definitely the most time you can gain by track cutting, that's for sure.
Cook's looking good here. He's up by just over a tenth, which will put him ahead and put him on provisional pole. 128, just a 128 dead there almost.
Yeah, I think we might see a 27 at this rate, but not with the 2 wheels in the sand like that, and an invalidation from Taufik. And definitely we'll see what Connor Hine can produce as well. He's currently down there P5.
Hamilton.
As well as Hamilton up, starting the second lap.
Yeah, very close to Cook's time there. And he's up just on this lap, so he's got more time in it. I think you're right. I think we're definitely going to get those 27s. Oh, he's done much better in turn 2 than he obviously did on his last lap. He's gained just a bit over a tenth.
Very short lap here, only 10 corners. The less amount of corners, the kind of the tighter the field spread generally, and the kind of where the BOP is a little bit more under scrutiny, but I think it's not too bad around here. BMW definitely a strong car all around across all tracks, to be honest, but looking good here as well. Probably still one of the best, no, the best front engine layout car on the grid definitely in terms of a front grip and balance overall.
Yeah, definitely, and a really good all-rounder at almost every track.
You have rain in 30. And whether that's going to affect race 2, we shall see. We'll see. Oh, that's probably just as far as you want to go wide for Hamilton. Brad Palmer comes up into P2. Excellent job by him. He's not an AM, but still an excellent lap by him. As Hamilton doesn't really improve on that last lap. Did lose a few hundreds at the end.
Yeah, he's got the time. Yeah, as we go to Vintano, who is up. Almost up 2/10. We're getting a very good exit there. Can he hold on to it? Oh, it's a tricky corner. That final turn, it can make or break your lap sometimes, and he's not quite done it. He's still up, but he's not going to gain the position he could have there. But there's still time for him to do another lap.
Yeah, that rain may affect the race later. Depends on how much rain it is, because the race is only 3 hours after this race session, after this qualifying session in game, so it will be at 3 p.m. in-game time on the same day. So we'll see what kind of conditions. Kind of maybe take some of the rubber away and might reduce it back to a more greener state. But it is on the last day of the weekend. Generally on the Fridays there's a lot more green. As Cook here in the 27s, first to take the 27s, up 1500s at this rate. Very touch and go, neat on the exit curve and neat turn in as well, and a good exit as well. Doesn't gain much, but very neat, and all he needs to do to extend the gap now to basically 3/10.
Yeah, just continuing to push that out. Hamilton looking like he's doing a better one. He's maximized the time he was almost done. He goes back up into P2. Very tight at the top.
At the cherry here. But Luke Johnson here in P5, 4/10 down. We see how tight it is. Basically, the second covers even more than the top 10, probably top 15 at this rate. We have to do wonder where is Aiden Squires at this point. There's Danny Vu as well in P7. Shout out to him, doing an excellent job so far in the silver class.
Yeah, Johnson's on a good one here, up to 10th, gaining a little bit. Can he hold on to it through the exit?
I think he'll get another lap as well.
Yeah, it should get another lap. He's got 11s. Yep, he should get another one. So it'll be...
And Connor Hine goes P1 just for a brief second over as Hignett takes it by 3,000s, and they're going to have another bite of the cherry. They're still pushing. Yep, looks like they're still going at it. If they got the fuel, might as well. And
Connor's down though. He was down 3/10 on turn 1 there, Connor. So I don't know if he's going to be able to do any better.
Yeah, he might have thought about backing out of it, and then might have changed his mind a little bit. So
Didn't notice.
And Cook's done for the day. Aiden Squires goes up to P8, but he's done his last lap for the silver car, and looks like Hamilton is done as well. Doesn't invalid all the way down. Yep. No improvement from Hamilton, so he'll be P4 at best. Taufik now down a 10th, but has a good run. But yeah, ebbs and flows. There's really not a lot of time to gain here. As I said, 10 corners, and he might be catching a little bit of dirty air from Brad in the Ferrari ahead, who goes offline and gets out of the way as a result. So he'll have to have a simply last 2 corners, whether they were shockers on his previous laps. Hignett looks like he's done as well, 1.3 down. Brian Kong's invalidated in the number 6 car, it says. So the 7-11, the Taufik not up right now. Don't think he's going to improve. Yep. And looks like we are going to have Hignett on pole.
Yeah, nobody improving right at the ends there. So just snags pole there from Connor. Connor will be fuming. I think he backed out of the lap and mucked up turn 1.
I looked down to all the way to P20, and it was 843 thousandths covered the top 20.
Yeah, really tight, right up there at the top. It could have been anyone's game there. Just one little, ever to just cost you there. But really, hopefully, it leads to a really good race. As it looks like we are dry for running. Yep, and it's still an optimum track, so there's going to be some very happy faces out there. People who are a bit sick of the wet, so it's just going to be full ball. Not worried too much about pit strategy and when you go to wet tires.
Rain is where the real skill is.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
The great equalizer.
He's definitely the great equalizer.
Definitely not saying that as GTR drivers.
I was absolutely astounded with how good the GTR is here in the wet. Like, it's good in the dry, but it's fantastic in the wet here. It was an amazing car to drive. I don't think I've ever driven a car that was so good in the wet. Really good combination.
Yeah, definitely. When you make up all your time, you don't make up your time. You don't rely on making up your time in the corners. Going in the wet's even better so far. When you got the V6 twin turbos out. Yep, we got Hignett, followed by Connor Hind, Cook, Hamilton, Taufik, Palmer, Johnson, Squires, Vu, and Kong to make up the top 10. Bit more return to form from Palmer. I saw someone in chat said they were very impressed with his times in the practice server, but was having a bit of an off race in race 1, to say the least. And hopefully he can secure himself a little bit more of a silver lead in the Silver Championship, as he is leading it so far over Taylor. Let's have a look at a few outliers. Taylor down there in P13, also the silver, just behind Carter in the BMW. So
as you were saying, it's just such a tight field. Like, the times, all the way down in the top 20 there are so close together that, I mean, there's a lot of pace out there. So it's going to be open game, especially, without the threat of rain or anything. Everybody's going to just be full sending it for this race. So I'm looking forward to it.
Tom Maloney in chat with the Giga Brain strategies, trying to upset some of the rookies. But yeah, let's see how much fuel, and do your own research. Don't rely on others to do your fuel calculations for you. You'll see Hignett obviously had a bit of a didn't have the best race. Maybe he didn't have the pressures right in the race 1. We'll see how he can go in race 2. But we kind of know what that Lamborghini's like when it comes to straight line performance, and we know it's shocking, sadly. Probably not too bad, but when there's stuff like the McLaren, even the McLarens are very nippy in a straight line with their turbos, and the Mustangs and the BMW as well. Once they, especially there's cars like they're strong in the draft, as Connor Hind is going through all sorts of maybe alien sort of tire warm up, but I think he's just kind of messing with his playmate, Connor Hind.
Don't play with your food, Connor.
Doing the zoomies back and forth.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what Hignett can do here. The track condition obviously was quite different in the first race. We had a fast track to start with, and it could have been that he just sort of grained up the tires a little bit too early and lost it there towards the end. So he might do a little bit better now that the track's already in an optimum state, and he can get them quickly up to temperature and hold on to this lead. But yeah, turn 1 I think is going to be pretty spicy with all these really fast guys very close together. It's going to be interesting. Hopefully no safety cars. Come on, guys. Make it a clean sweep. Show Split the Yellow how it's done.
We don't have webcams, but if we did, I'd be looking at the camera right now after you've said that. And Squires, the track it's a right-hander. That's the gravel.
Oh dear, Squires. Yeah, it's sort of a little bit anonymous in that qualifying session, but also the pace was so high there that he was putting in good lap times. It just there's just so many fast guys in split green as they start to go too wide.
Put YouTube chat down.
If he's in chat typing, we'll have words.
He hasn't said anything, but the fact that he went off on on the formation lap, I think canonically that we're just gonna have to say that's what happened. So we go 2 by 2 for the first corner and the formation lap. Would you like to do the honors, Cricky?
Sure.
It's quite a late start here, that's for sure.
Very late start here. But we come around the final. We've got Hignett on the left, we've got Connor Hine on the right. Behind them we've got Brad Cook, Liam Hamilton, Tafiq, Palmer, Johnson, Squires, Voos, Kong, all fast, all doing really quick times in qualifying. It's going to be an interesting turn 1 as they start to get ready to go green. Ooh, it looks like Hignett might have jumped the start there. I didn't quite hear the green call, and it's always he's getting a little bit caught out. Oh no, Connor's been punted.
Oh no, yeah, Connor's been hit by Hamilton, and took the lead and has now taken the back step.
It's worked great for Hignett though. Hignett's managed to jump back into the lead.
Absolutely. I believe that is Cook around the outside. He's going to take P2. It was a small touch as Hignett goes too deep. And Hignett takes Cook takes the lead in the Mustang. Crowd cheers, chances and everything. The unit 5, what is a kilometer? As Johnson here is looking to get past the Ferrari of Taufik, but on the outside line, people braking late. Too late? Not too late this time. And to get it stopped for the corner. That was messy at the start. I think you were right. Hignett did look like he jumped the start, and I think there was a little bit of we got some death surely at turn 4, number 7. We're seeing lots of yellow flags, white flags, and I think we got a safety car.
It looks like a safety car. Yep, everyone's slowing up for a safety car there. Yeah,
lots of paddlings to give out from the race director.
That was an interesting turn 1.
I believe that's Brian Kong in the 7 that has gone round at some point at turn 4 and is rejoining the back of the grid. We shall see if they resume this lap, or if so, as the 695 will take control of the field.
Yeah, it looks like they'll do a restart pretty quick. The pack is all pretty much close together. We'll probably see a couple of drivers take an early pit stop.
No, it's Mugello 2020, please no. Everyone kind of concertinas and slows down two times, fan out a bit, and not sure if I think we're going to do another lap at the rate. It seems that they're already crossing the line at the slow speed.
Yeah,
so
looks like
it gives us an opportunity to just try and digest what happened. We're going to replay up, thank you, Lip. See Brian Kong going into turn 4. Great, but there's a Mustang, I think that's Taylor, and he comes steaming in and touch, and that's Squires, and that's also John Carter as well, that gets caught up in that, and everyone's just kind of, just has to make a way around as well. Oh dear.
Yeah, not much in that, unfortunately. Very, very slight tap there, but yeah, you can see the massive congestion that caused. Good result for Connor Hine here. I mean, he's lost a lot on that first corner, but now he gets
Connor Hines in the pits.
Right up the back of the pack.
Stop out of the way.
And he's getting his mandatory stop, and it's going to work well for him, especially.
Safety car. We can the rules.
Yes, you can, yeah, and especially given that the safety car has continued for this remainder of this lap, that is going to mean that he's got his pit stop out of the way, and he's right at the back there. So a disastrous first corner, but he's still in with a chance here. Got a little bit lucky there.
Brain.
It was the strategy all along. Him and Hamilton were working together there. Hamilton's like, all right, I'm gonna mess up my start. Actually, it was Hignett was gonna mess up the start, and then Hamilton's like, and I'll take Connor out, and then we'll cause a safety car, and then Connor will get to catch back up and do a gig.
I know it says L, but his real name is Nelson Hamilton Jr.
Yeah.
Yes. We're trying to digest the start again. Yeah, he looked like Hignett kind of got a false start, and then everyone's kind of confused. Hignett and Hamilton, not Hignett, Hind and Hamilton both got good runs on the right side. Looks like they were kind of a little bit ahead of them, to be honest, anyway. So I think Hignett was going to lose that P1 off the start regardless. But yes, as they're looking to get a restart along. And so yes, and then Hamilton just got a little bit deep, punted Hind around, and I believe he got caught by one of the Porsches, which I think might have been Brad Palmer in the top 10 as well. So there might be damage on Palmer's car, but we definitely know that Hind has come in, fixed his damage, and probably done his mandatory stop out of the way. So one to watch for Hind, because he's big ups on the rest of the field. As Brad Cook is gone. Yep, he's jumped.
He's gone.
He's gone. And Hignett's going to have a go at Hamilton this rate. but I think he's going to lose out to the grunt of the BMW.
Yeah, unfortunately, definitely. Liam was caught a bit napping there, but the car. I think both Hamilton and Hignett are probably looking at some sort of penalty coming their way. So Cook's in a pretty good position here if he can just keep pushing basically and extend that gap, because he's basically got 2 cars behind him who are probably not in contention at the moment. Tafiq going for a big move up there on Johnson on the inside, doing very well with the Ferrari sticking exactly where it is. Both drivers leaving the space. They continue. Got that extra grunt down the straight. Tafiq holding on to the inside. Johnson, ooh, nice outside. He's gone a little bit too wide there. Tafiq, he probably gave Tafiq too much space, and he's actually looks like he's going to lose another position and potentially 2.
Yeah, that's not great from Johnson. Yeah, to be honest, he looked like he was a car length ahead, and he's going to make sure he stays ahead of Danny Vu at this point in time. As Palmer is under threat from one of the Wittner, sorry, BMW. As we see, I believe Vu is coming in to do a pit stop, and that's going to be awkward for Palmer, but that's what you got to do. And also comes into the pits is Squires as well. And 10-second penalty per car, 471. That is Hignett.
That'll be a jump start.
Yep. So yeah, I believe so. And not spelling a bad day for Hignett. Did take pole. 806 also gets a penalty. A 10-second penalty. That is Hamilton for understandably turning the leader around, just getting a little bit too deep. Yep. Yeah, El Pantorino.
Surprised by only 15, actually. Surprised it's only 10. I would have thought maybe 15, but that's the stewards. It's they're making the calls.
To be honest, I think he's probably done Hind's service with the safety car. I think it's got to actually lead to Hind's benefit at this rate. But we'll see what Cook can do. Maybe he can, because to be fair, Hind has got to go through the entire field, and despite how quick you are, it's not necessarily the fastest way around the track when you've got cars in front of you.
Yeah, definitely not easy to overtake, even if you've got a significant pace advantage over the people ahead of you. So he's definitely got the work cut out for him, but he's a quick customer, Connor, and he'll be determined, that's for sure.
Absolutely. Yeah, and it looks like, Johnson, he was kind of going for a move on Taufik, and he had just a car length ahead. But, he didn't really, Taufik just, the door was still left open, and he just braked as late as he could into turn 4. And I think there might have been a little bit of contact as we see Taufik come into the pits, and this will give us a reference on where he comes out relative to the 701, because I believe he's probably the highest runner that is now boxed, as well as Barker as well. So Taufik was P4, just ahead of Johnson. See where he comes out relative to the 701 McLaren, 705. I do apologize. Well, that's it. Yeah, 705. He's already behind Squires and Kong. Okay, maybe something has happened, unless it's just the timing board. But I believe Kong was also out of it. No, he is behind Kong. So yeah, I think there's been an incident. No, but Kong was caught up in the first lap incident, so he was behind.
Yeah,
so I think something else has happened.
Yeah, you wouldn't have thought. But maybe just being in the pack there has just cost Con way too much time. Being all the way at the back there, that traffic has just cost him the time, unfortunately. But he's still in for a fight. He's right on the back of these two guys. Interesting, we're seeing so many really early pit stops going on. Different to the first race, definitely.
I think some majors happened there. They were on the back of the field when the safety car came in. So I'm a little confused, and we're going to leave it at that.
Yep, that's all right. That's racing. Sometimes
I think they've been told their pit stops probably weren't valid. So maybe, because I think they've come in again. I'm getting that feeling they've come in again based on where they are, because they're a long way off.
Yeah.
But I said I was going to leave it, but I'm still talking about it.
Yep. It's fine. We'll see how it all pans out. Tafiq currently ahead of all of the drivers who have made a pit stop, so in a good position there. I still think Brad
last
Cook...
lap 2:25 from Connor Hine. Just to give an
that's
idea.
A pit stop. Yeah, so he must have done another stop there. Hamilton's just got the fastest lap. He's got that 10-second penalty, but he's not letting that stop him. He's chasing down Brad Cook here at the start. He still wants to get ahead on track.
Absolutely. And I think Cook probably won't fight him too hard if he does go for it. But every second that you give up, that you'll that can come back to bite you. The overall pace in the race, and Hignett. I was a little bit surprised. I guess it is only fair. Hignett did jump the start, but he jumped and then led off, so he kind of didn't really gain anything. There was that little awkward contact, I think, as Hamilton came over and they were 3 wide, and they didn't really know they were that wide, and thankfully it didn't lead to anything more than just a little bit of rubbing racing at most. As Hamilton, he's got good pace behind the Ford Mustang. They're only 3 tenths apart at the current stage.
Even if he didn't quite jump the start or he didn't get an advantage, he was definitely out of position on the start there. So at the very least, that's what he's got the penalty for. Being out of position is just a no questions asked penalty, regardless of reason or whether you gained an advantage or whether you lost anything out of it. It's just, it's just a penalty straight away, 10 seconds. So that might make sense there if it is for that rather than jumping the start. Here we go, let's have a look.
Thank you, Glenn. So you see the start, so you can see Connor was a little bit ahead, so I feel like Connor was going to get this P1 regardless, just having inside line, but you can see Hignett jumps, and then they all start going, and Connor at the end, it's only a little bit of a touch, the Constantino effect, but just, gets into the back behind, and then, I think that's Palmer who gets into him again, nowhere else to go. Messy. Don't like it.
Yeah, definitely jumping the start there. Unfortunate, but that's the way it goes. And it makes the race a little bit spicy.
Absolutely. Definitely, not what you need. We are in the second half of the season, so whatever championship bids you're putting together, you've only got this round. Well, the remainder of this race is only 18 minutes, and you got 2 more rounds after that in the form of Indianapolis, and I believe the last race at Mount Panorama, the good old Bathurst.
Legendary track. Unless you make.
Yeah, well, less said the better. Bathurst is the best, no question.
I mean, we are GTR drivers, so.
Yeah. It's not even that fun. It's not fun in places, the GTR, I'll tell you that.
No, definitely not, but it's a good car around there, especially over a race.
Mountain like the weekend, though.
Exactly, it's good fun there. But this BMW is looking strong here. I think it feels like Liam's just it's got that little extra grip over Brad Cook here, maybe just seeing that slight difference between the Mustang and the BMW here. The Mustang a little bit quicker on the straights, but it's not going to be quick by much. That BMW might be an older car now, but it still really keeps up with even some of the newer cars.
It's positively brand new in comparison to our GTRs, that's for sure.
Everything
comes in the pits. Yeah,
except the Lexus.
I think our GTRs, when they were coding the ECUs, they were chiseling on tablets. I think when they were making our cars. But yes, I was going to say I think these guys were due to box very soon because you can see on the track map there's a big bunch of cars that have done their pit stops, and while they are obligated to get out of the way, it doesn't mean you're going to gain time. You're pretty much going to lose time by getting through traffic. So you might as well come in now, and I dare say we'll probably see Cook and Hignett probably do the same. But we'll see Hamilton. Obviously, Hamilton will have to do that 10 seconds hold before he gets any remedial action. Probably will just not take tyres as ever as well. Do the 25 seconds minimum. Take probably the appropriate amount of fuel as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you could still play into. I think it's really Brad's race to lose here. He's driving well. It looks like Hamilton was being held up a little bit by him, but it's still very much his race to lose. And he's being very consistent. He's not putting too many feet wrong, not getting too crazy on the tyres, not sending the car. He's keeping it nice and balanced. So he's in a very good position here for the win. He just has to make sure he gets the next pit stop right. Doesn't do it too late, doesn't do it too early, but I think we can see him pitting very soon. In fact, no, he's going for another one. I'd say next lap then, because there is some traffic ahead.
Next car ahead is 67. And as of T right in the Porsche. And we've got two cars off, 8 and number 121 at turn 1. Hopefully, are they offline? Yep, and it's the Austin. Ooh, and there's another one just on the side of the track as well. It's not what we like to see. There's Greco and I believe Austin. I believe.
Yeah, it was Sean. But it looked like Sean coming out of the pits there, so I don't know whether that was a related incident or just Sean stopping at the end of pit lane, making sure he didn't interfere with the leader there. And perhaps Greco just going off on his own in a separate incident. I don't know that they made contact there at all. Car looks in pretty good condition there for Austin, so it might have just been a little fluke accident.
Yeah. Speaking of the BMW, you'd say it's a few years old now. I think it's 2021 was introduced, which to be honest, is not that old to be honest. But it is getting a new Evo spec for next year, in the form of the M4 Evo. To be honest, not really a lot to distinguish it from the previous one, other than some quite aero funky wing mirrors, as well as some laser LED tail lights. Those are the two main things. Other than that, it's mainly a front bumper and rear bumper sort of change, as well as a bunch of internal changes, probably ways to keep the costs down, to increase reduce repair costs, and all the yada 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 that comes associated with owning GT3s, which I dare say no one in Octane does at this rate. If you do, I'm free for it. I'm up for driving.
Yeah, we're all available, I think.
I've got
Interesting.
a GT3 model car.
Yeah, I got a couple of those. They're all the same car, though.
Can we have a guess?
You don't need to. You don't need any.
Answers on a postcard to 123 Fake Street, Ballarat.
Interesting. I'm seeing Cook here just staying out. I'm surprised. I would have thought he'd have jumped right in there. Maybe he's gone and planned for a long stint, so he's just got so much fuel he doesn't want to. He just wants to burn it all off. But yeah, interesting that he's choosing to deal with the traffic. He's not getting too held up here, but yeah, interesting decision
just had
here.
Ramash there for a second, which I was worried he wasn't getting out of the way, as we've gotten more cars off on the inside on the grass. 125 and 21 is going slowly as well. It's another thing for the leader to negotiate. Should get around it. Looks like no problem so far. It's Purcell, and I think I saw a slightly dinged up Porsche as well, but whether that was from a Denver incident, we shall see.
Yeah, not that one.
That one looks alright, but yeah, surprise Cook is still going around.
Yeah, going for another one. Yeah, he must have overfueled, and he wants that really, really short run, like a 10-minute qualifying sprint, I guess, It's definitely a strategy that could work.
He's not under threat. With his two closest cars on track, we had 10-second penalties. I think if your tires are in the right window now, then, and if you're not losing time, I think, just go for it.
Yeah, and you got the fuel, that's right.
Got a little bit of damage on the front, which I dare say he won't repair, which I think came from that slight bump at the start, which I don't think is affecting him whatsoever.
Yeah, looking at the lap times.
Good. He's not being caught by Hignett either. We know how quick he is. Do what you do. Let's have a check-in on where Connor Hine is. So Connor Hine's up to P16. I dare say, had to do another stop. So maybe not overall net gain for what was the leader for about 3 seconds as he goes into the turn 6 and through the turn 7, a little bit wide as well. Not helping his day, as I think he'll be quite disappointed, to say the very, very, very least. But he's got quite a commanding championship lead, that's for sure, over Taufik, who is not out in front in terms of P1, but he's still at P5, so we'll gain some points back on him unless everything goes to cock in the last 11 minutes. But we shall see. I think it's going to be damage limitation for Mr. Hines, to say the least.
Yeah, he's just going to try and get as many points as he can. Like I said, he's got a commanding lead, so he can afford to have a little bit of a missed round. We still do drop rounds this season, don't we? Oh, there's no drop rounds this season. Yeah, just checking that in. So no drop round this season. So that'll stink a little bit for him, but he will, I think, still do okay. Like, he did pretty well in the first race. Each of these races isn't worth as many points as just one big long sprint race like we do. He'll still be disappointed.
Yeah. Ah, well. Yeah, sure. Yeah, we do have one big 60-minute race at Indianapolis and another 60-minute race at Mount Panorama. So this will be the last of the sprint races for this season here and there, and it'll be no more second chances at recovery drives for the rest of the season. 15-second penalty for car 125. That is Purcell with 15 pen. Dare say for an incident. We did see them off on the inside of turn 7 earlier, so maybe there was a coming together recently then and another car, and they've been deemed at fault, as well as obviously having their own troubles.
Interesting to note too that thanks to the penalty, Vintner seems to have jumped Hamilton, who's two. Oh no, is that even further? Oh no, the timing board's doing weird things because people are in the pits. We'll find out what that gap is. I think 2-ish seconds seems about right. But yeah, Vintner, he's a good one for silently achieving, Mr. Vintner. Sometimes he just crops up out of nowhere, and yeah, doing well here and taking advantage of the scruffy driving from some of the guys at the front of the pack.
Yeah, definitely. I think he was piloting the BMW, not the BMW, the Mercedes. He is piloting the BMW, but he was piloting the Mercedes for a few seasons, and having some, I think, overall mixed success with the Mercedes. And probably, BMW is a better car, but I think there's probably just having to still find the quirks a little bit of what you can get out of it. But yeah, definitely a very good set of hands is Ben Vintner in the BMW, or the BM Sport, as his team name is called, with a 27. But doing a good job here. Not leading BMW so far, but dare say will be once Carter pits. And yeah, just I think he doesn't get necessarily the podiums and the wins of some of the other drivers, but puts together a very consistent overall championship, which I've found, especially to my gain, I think is generally the better way of going about it.
So we've got Cook here, still going. Hignet's finally decided to jump into the pits. So just Cook and Carter to make their pit stops. Be interesting to see where Carter slots into this too, because he managed to jump out of nowhere on his last race by doing a last pit stop. So maybe Cook took some notes there from Carter's strategy, because yeah, he's leaving it right to the end here. So he's just going to go for the smallest amount of fuel he can possibly put in the car and just hot lap around. Surely he's got to pit soon though.
No, explain also why. Nothing to take away from Hamilton, but maybe Hamilton had a bit more pace than him. Probably was carrying a bit less fuel, to say the least. But surely Brad, you got to come in. Look at the amount of cars that are ahead. Surely get out the way. Don't do this. Don't jeopardize it. Just come in, play it safe, and get that car to P1 across the finish line. But yeah, obviously having to carry a bit more fuel than Hamilton went a bit longer. Dare say Hamilton, if he played things correctly, would have put in. He knew when he was going to stop around halfway and would have just put all the fuel he needs, because every kilo you carry that you don't use is just unnecessary weight.
Yeah, look, I'm not going to tell Mr. Cook here how to win a race. He's much more experienced at that than I am. So he's continuing to go around. He's going to leave it to the very last minute. Maybe we'll see he's going to do a final lap. Just scrape it in at the end.
I'd do a Kranich strategy, yeah.
Even Kranich would probably think this was a bit bold.
Absolutely. So, John Carter, PlayStation BMW, still going around as well. And, doing as I said before, it's a steady job, silently in his own thing. I think, to be honest, like, I like sometimes doing the undercut. I also sometimes like doing the overcut as well. I like doing what other people don't, and having your own clear air to do your thing, especially if you've got pace, is honestly you can gain so much time by doing it. A little bit of a scuff mark here on the front of the BMW, but yeah, just having clear air, doing your own thing. As much as I like fighting, it just really doesn't gain you time.
Yeah, I'm definitely a driver who I kind of like to follow someone, especially if they're around my pace and they're not slow. I tend to perform a little bit better when I've got someone to chase down. So I find that I will stick with someone, chase with them for as long as possible, and pit when they do, or pit the lap after them. So yeah, I tend to favour a bit of an overcut as well.
Yeah, looks like Squires has come out behind as Brad Cook is now coming into the pits in the blend line. Hopefully gets everything stopped, doesn't jeopardize, doesn't throw away his win by getting a pit speeding limit. Will I have Kirsten brakes, and looks like he's gone and stopped.
That was good.
And
Yeah, it looked like he got that nailed. So this will be interesting to see if anyone can catch him. I don't think, like, Tafik's been going well. His lap times have been consistent, but I'm not sure he's had quite the pace to catch Cook. See where he's on track. Yeah, he's still going to be a little bit of the way behind.
I think Mohin should take P2 at this rate, given that obviously Hamilton and who was the other offender, Hignett, had their 10 seconds. So we're looking at Wittner here. He might be looking at a P3 at this rate, but we know how quick Hamilton is, and he's 1.7 behind Wittner at that lap, and I think that gap has been closing since that pit stop as well. So it's all pressure on Wittner.
He's only been taking a couple of tenths out of him every lap, though, so if Wittner can keep the pace up, he might just hold on there and snag the podium, as we see Brad Cook exiting.
Gets it stopped, gets it
He's got it
exited
stopped
very nicely.
Yeah, so he's jumped back into the lead there.
And there's Mohin. That's actually a lot closer than I expected.
Yeah, quite a close gap. Like I was watching Tafik's lap times there, and he has been going very quick. But he does seem to have not quite had the pace to catch Cook there. Cook doing really well to keep setting those kind of lap times. Obviously taking advantage of a little bit of a heavier fuel load there, and he's done well now. So he's only got 3 minutes to go, and it's looking good for him.
Yeah, pretty much everyone now has done their stops. So this is the way it is. Everything is on track to be taken if you want it. And Hamilton now down to 1.5, but with 3 minutes left on the clock, that should give maybe just under 3 laps, I dare say. And we see Cook is going to come through into the penultimate curve. And yeah, they say we're gonna get three more laps. I don't know. Don't trust me for mass. I can do my fuel stop, and that's about it.
Yeah, so that gap between Vintner and Hamilton not closing too much. It's only about a tenth. So Vintner's doing a really good job to keep the pace up. Hamilton, who is going really quick. I just don't think he's going to have the time. I think he's got the pace, but he's just going to run out of time to catch Vintner unless he makes a mistake. So looking good for a podium here, Vintner.
Yep. The 43 car off on the inside of T1. What's happened there?
Could be a blue flag situation.
Yeah. Might just be park up and just let them all stream through, which is, to be fair enough if you're not in the contention. And yes, Hamilton's still with the fastest lap right now, and definitely probably the fastest driver on track. As Connor Hind has come up to P15. He's right on the back of Weberburn as well, and we'll see what he can produce. But he's been on those tyres for a long time. That's it. Everyone's probably not taking tyres either. So yeah, we'll see what Yoda can do to defend.
He's been chasing Weatherburn for a long time too. Weatherburn's obviously been doing some really hard defense here and making Connor work for it because they've been stuck together like glue for probably the last 10 minutes or so. Connor just doesn't seem to have been able to get past Weatherburn. So Weatherburn doing a really good job there to hold off the speedy Connor.
Weatherburn's car looks like it's been around the Arc de Triomphe a few times, not gonna lie.
It's a Mustang. It's a Mustang. They all look like that.
And yes, Hamilton's still going strong. Yeah, I don't think he's going to turn. I was going to say, like, once you start to get a slipstream at this track, you gain more over the lap, given the amount of straights here, than you would at other tracks, where the slipstream is kind of only really comes into effect once you get into like 4/10s, or like half a couple of car lengths, if not. But yes, we'll see. I don't think it's gonna matter, especially with equal machinery, that's for sure. Shout out to Johnson's kind of just been plugging away there in P6, is still behind Hignett and kind of just in his own gap, as well as Barker as well. We don't think we've seen Barker the whole race. He's kind of been plugging his own gap. That's the thing with the pit stops. Everyone's kind of on their own sort of contra strategy. It means we have to have about 1 million eyes looking everywhere, trying to keep up. But shout out to Chris Taylor as well. Shout out to Chris Taylor, but he is going to drop. He's got 15 seconds.
Quite a bit.
Big old paddle in, and yeah, look at the gaps between them. It's sub-second, all the way down to P13 between the cars. So yeah, I think he's going to end up in maybe Montreal by the end of this. As Brad Cook comes through, I didn't even realize it was the last lap, but here comes Brad Cook to take up the second race of Austria, followed by Taufik as well, and Wittner will take P3 ahead of Hamilton, who does take the fastest lap as well, of a 27.8, I believe. Hignett, what could have been? Yes.
Good recovery, I guess, from both.
Johnson as well for P6, and Barker, followed by Taylor, but not for long, and Vu, White, and should make Fercolini into the top 10. Shout out to Ash White there. It's a very good drive from him. Under the radar again in the 928.
Yeah, Carter not quite gaining as much from his late pit strategy in that race as he did in the first one, but still, good position there. Finished P11 by the looks of it.
Yeah, still in that silver or AM championship fight, but I think he's definitely silver or pro-am base, that's for sure. That has been an amazing lap, second race 1 and 2. It's been an amazing couple of races, and thank you to everyone who makes them possible. To be honest, we haven't really had to do any filler or anything like that. Everything's been running pretty great, and we'll run through the race positions. You want to run them through them for us, Cricky?
Yep, we'll do race 1 first. So we got, so race 1, it was Taufik from Connor Hind, and then Liam Hamilton in third for the overall class. Then we had silver class, we had Carter, Squires, and Purcell. AM class was...
Classes are not final.
If Chris Taylor's an AM, I don't know what I am, but we had Palmer.
Brad Palmer's not an AM either.
Yeah.
Not Danny Vu either. Maybe Ash White, no. Tonkin.
Even Thurka. I don't think there are any legitimate AMs in here. Maybe Greco is legitimate AM, but Thurkalini's definitely not an AM either.
Nobody wins. We'll just
this class has just wiped that clean.
We'll get it sorted.
Couple of entry list problems. We'll go to race 2. We'll ignore AM class. We'll go to the overall again. So it was Brad Cook taking a very good victory there in the second race. Just led it from the beginning, took advantage of other people's mistakes and held on to it very nicely. Taufik getting P2 there, so a really good round for him. Both results very good. And then Vintner getting a nice podium there. It'll be happy with that.
Yeah,
I don't think we'll bother with the other classes because I don't think it's right.
We'll do the top 10.
Yeah, let's do the top 10. So we had Hamilton, who, had a bit of a bad start, but managed to recover. Hignett as well. Johnson, Barker, Vu, Ash White, and then Debiato Thurkalini making it into the top 10. I think he'll be very happy with that result there. Connor Hind, who is in 14th, so a decent recovery from him, but he'll be wanting more.
Yeah, he'll get over it, but excellent races. Thank you to you, Cricky. Thank you to Glenn as well, and for covering split yellow and split green. We'll have our split blue and red respectively tomorrow night, and then the following week will be Indianapolis for the Sprint Series. But also on Saturday is going to be our race for Mullet, so do come along on Saturday. and we'll have some fun around Nordschleife, and you think it's bad here? Nords is going to be something else in terms of the stewards. I don't think we'll have live stewarding for that race, for sure, but there will be yellow flags, that's for sure. Thank you to everyone for the race tonight. Thank you to Quickie, and yeah, I'll catch you tomorrow.
Yep, thanks Cam, thanks Glenn, thanks to all the racers, thanks to Simrigs, our sponsors, and yeah, all the audience for checking it out. We'll see you next time.